All right, welcome to episode 5 of the Out of Mana podcast. For some reason, my camera keeps slipping off to the side like it has a mind of its own. But I am joined with the real Shiesty once again, and a very special guest, TheBadgerStory. You can find him on YouTube at TheBadgerStory. There'll be a link in the description below. He basically does a day in the life stuff with his medical journeys, what he likes to do, collects Pokemon cards, and other things like that. So I recommend checking him out. How you doing? Scratchers.
Learn Kai,
Lots of family stuff too, and also things with his dogs.
Oh yeah.
I saw one of your dogs in the background, by the way, but I only saw its butt, so I don't know what kind of dog it is.
Where do you go?
You have two dogs. One's Mushu, and the other one's Hey Hey.
Then we got rid of the other one.
Oh, you got rid of Hey Hey?
Yeah, we got rid of Hey Hey. He was a young pup. He was like 12 months old. I mean, sorry, 13, 14 months old. But he was just like a big dog that liked to jump on the bed and the couch and then like want to be playful, bite all the time, dig, all that stuff. It's just like now, we had him for a couple weeks and it's just too much.
Yeah, he's very energetic.
He started behaving. He started to become a better dog, and I really do hope that he finds a better family for him or a suitable family for him. But now she wants to get a Pomeranian.
Ooh.
So now
I grew up in houses with Pomeranians. My grandmother always had a Pomeranian. I think the one that I remember, I think his name was Dusty. I think they went to did they have 3 generations of Dusties? I can't remember now. But nonetheless, they've always had Pomeranians. And not my go-to dog, but...
The only dog I've had was like a mixture of like a Havanese and a Shih Tzu. And she was a very small dog, beautiful, like very cute, but she was very special.
Special as in
special,
dogs, or
she needed help sometimes because she would run to the wall and bark at things that weren't there.
I don't know. I feel like sometimes most dogs that are mutts generally are smarter. I don't know why. At least that's the kind of history that I've
She
seen,
was a brilliant genius when it came to getting food, but everything else, she basically had the IQ of a rock.
I get all the smart dogs, but then I'll say the dogs that don't listen to me either. So
yeah, but you were like the dog whisperer. Like I the 2 dogs you've had, you've trained very well, and I'm not sure if you want to talk about Teacup, but
that's fine.
Teacup, if you want to explain Teacup's life, but basically when you got him, he was a little heavier. You're able to bring him down to a very healthy weight. You got him active, and you got him to a place that he probably wouldn't have got with anyone else.
A lot of it had to do with my wife. She had the way to run with him, but she didn't last long running. And then, a lot of the walking around and stuff. Yeah, so he went from 150 pounds to, I think we went down to 120. And he hovered around 120 for a while. And then we had to put him down. He was about 98 pounds. That's with the cyst he had growing in his stomach. So he lost a lot of weight. He wasn't eating. He could barely stand. So it was just one of those things. It was time to say the goodbyes. But
But the fact that you got him so late in his life, when did you get him? When he was 9?
He wasn't even that old. As far as we know, he was 6, 7 years old.
That's kind of young for a dog.
Is it?
Yeah.
For human years, yeah. Well, it depends on the breed, really, but generally speaking, I think across all breeds, that's pretty young, I would say.
Yeah,
for me,
the average for a German Shepherd was 12 years, and he died at 7, or he had to be put down at around 7 years.
I mean, though, like you mentioned, they had a cyst, so I mean, if there's obviously an issue, I mean, you got to look at the breed and the family history. I mean, it sounds odd to talk about the dogs, but it's all true. They have their genetics just like anybody else. So, I mean, yeah. I mean,
you don't really have insurances for dogs. I know there is, but it's still
there is, but yeah, it's
it's very expensive and it's just it's difficult.
Yeah, we went just a checkup, and it cost $800 just for a checkup. And we didn't have insurance on the dogs, but it was still one of those things. If you don't have insurance, especially something like this, he probably would have survived anyways. But it's still they probably would have want $3,000 to $5,000 for the surgery.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't even have sold it to you, knowing the problems, the history. So.
And then even that's you have to think about is it really going to make their quality of life better? How long is it really going to prolong their life? And it's there's a whole bunch of things you got to weigh. But I think what I want to say is that even though you said 7 or 8 when you got them, that's a dog that's pretty much developed their personality, and the fact that you're able to take a dog at that age and train them well, it's pretty impressive. And I know you and Ju somehow manage it, especially with your second dog, Mushu.
Well, it was easy because he's a fat dog, and he could. He wanted to be lazy. All that I do is get him to eat. You know, he go outside, go to the bathroom. He like
train him with treats.
Yeah. You know, and then like inside, like he was an indoor dog, so he just like lay down and slept all day long. So he didn't really have much of a life, which is because earlier this year we went to, where did we go? I think we went to Morro Bay. We went to Morro Bay in California, and you know, had like, I think it was like 4 or 5 day week over there. We brought the dogs with us, so they were able to run around with other dogs. They have a dog beach, so like all the dogs you can let loose, and they can run around and have fun on the beach and play in the water and stuff. So, you know, we got a vacation in with him and Mushu.
That sounds fun.
So yeah, it was fun.
So, do you guys plan on getting any more animals, or is Mushu it for now?
That's a wife question.
Whatever she feels, it happens.
Well, it's like she says one thing and then does another. You know, it's like, I don't want a big dog. She comes home with hey. You know, it's like a huge dog. It's like, okay. And then it's like, no, it's too soon. So you got rid of hey. And then it's like, I want a Pomeranian. You know, and then it's like, you know, okay, and she hasn't got it yet. So
yet, keyword yet.
Yeah. You know, I had to convince her not to get more than 2 dogs. So put it that way. She wanted to get 2 German Shepherds in place of they were babies. They were like maybe like 6 months old, and they were like, you know, they were twins. You know, they were from the same family and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, look at the cute German Shepherds. I want both. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's kind of how my mom ended up with a couple shepherds. I don't know if they're twins, but they were definitely sisters.
Yeah.
And one, my sister that ended up moving to Austin, she took one, and then the other's still up in Wisconsin with her. So they got separated, but them two total different personalities, like for being sisters. So yeah, they're just as energetic, and you know.
See, we're simple. We like the lazy type.
I would concur with that assessment. You can still love them just as much, and it's just like less maintenance. It's like
I want to be able to play video games and have the dog just lay right there and not have to worry about do anything.
Or keep your lap warm.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just they know how to feed themselves. Every once in a while, just take them out, let them go to the restroom.
That's why cats are pretty good too. If you're not allergic, I'm allergic to both, unfortunately, which fucking really sucks.
Same here.
I still love the hell out of animals. Like I said, I grew up in houses all my life, and but still have one right now. So.
But going to the cat part, I can't agree that all cats are the same, because my cat,
hell no, she's
a menace, and she acts like a dog. Like, she'll follow you around, she'll lay in front of you when you're walking like a roadblock, kind of like dogs do. And then when she's hungry, she'll meow like crazy, and then like headbutt you to like get her food. I'm like, you're a cat. You're supposed to be isolated. Why are you so needy?
I mean, every cat's different as well. I mean, they have personalities just like dogs. I mean, it's all the same. All that stigmatism, even with those animals, just wash it down the drain.
Yeah. It's funny that all three of us love animals. Obviously, Steve and I are, they're like our kryptonite because of our allergies, even though we love them.
Yeah.
But what would be your ideal pet? Like if you could protect any species in a particular breed.
Any species. Oh shit, damn. Well, I always said, like, if there was like a way to tame and knowing that it's not going to turn on you, and there was an exotic animal, I don't know why. I just thought of having like a snow leopard. Sounds pretty badass. Yeah, but if we're talking about realistic, it's funny because Badger mentioned Pomeranian. I want something that's like half Pomeranian, but it's called the Pomsky because it's half Pomeranian, half Husky. They just look so fucking adorable, and that would be the one I would want. But they're like stupid expensive. So those are my answers to the question.
Matt, what about you?
For me, okay, so again, I'm old school. I'm old. So there's a movie called.
He's a doggy.
Yeah, there he is. Mushu, what are you doing? You want to come up here? You want to come up? Come here. Come on. Nope, he doesn't want to come up. Come on. You want to come up?
Wave to the podcast.
Yeah, come see. Okay, you're not helping.
He's like, nah, you didn't pay me enough for this.
Where are my royalties? Oh, he looks so confused.
Yeah.
He's totally looking away from the camera. He knows where the camera's
Mushu,
at. He
what's this?
doesn't even want to look at it. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, yeah.
The
You
one
know,
thing I
you're
love
not-
about Mushu is that he has 2 different color eyes.
I noticed. For a second, I thought he was half blind.
So the movie is called Kindergarten Cop. If you guys
Okay.
ever seen it, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he
Yeah.
plays, of course, he's a cop who has to pretend like he's a teacher
Mhm.
and take care of like kindergartens or some of that preschool kindergarten people. And in order to calm him down, he had a ferret in the back of his car. And like ever since that movie, you know, I mean, I don't think about it as much now because I'm always busy. But it's like, you know, that ferret was always something I wanted. But it's like I think in the United States it's illegal to have a ferret.
I don't think so, because
no.
I went to Petco the other day for cat food, and there was 5 ferrets in a cage
What?
together.
Maybe it's a
Wait. Like
California
they were
thing.
selling them at Petco?
I believe
Oh,
so.
Yeah, that's
Really? Now
Yeah,
that I
they
did
were
not
like
know.
they were playing. They were all like all over each other, just having fun. I think they're siblings
Wow.
really.
Oh man, I did not know they sold them in stores
or
like that.
PetSmart. One of the 2.
I don't think it's illegal. I don't remember like vividly, but I know I remember being like at parents' friends' houses or whatever that owned ferrets, and they had like this whole lavish tube
Yeah.
system in one of the rooms, and like they were awesome. They were
Yeah.
awesome, but they do smell.
Well, the reason why is that they are considered an exotic animal. So it's like
Are they really?
owning a tiger, owning
I would-
whatever. It's not
I mean, I don't
There
know.
was something that it's weird that because like even our pet stop, like they don't even have animals anymore. They have like fish. I think that's all you can get. Maybe frogs.
That
but,
might
like,
be a
we don't even have
state law
animals
thing?
anymore.
Is that a state law thing, or is that just that one store?
I don't know. I have no
Okay.
idea. I don't.
Because
Because
know.
I think.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Josh. No, that's fine.
I was gonna say because the PetSmart Petco I go to, we got dogs, cats, fish, snakes, frogs, crickets, birds,
No.
Yeah, but
and
this is her feed, though.
sometimes I've seen people actually get like those little like boxes and keep crickets in there. It's like little good luck charms.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's loads of animals in our stores. Even some like like obviously multiple different like breeds of birds like cockatoos, parakeets, all that stuff. Like they sell loads of animals here.
I think it might be also too like it controls the animal population. There's so many stray cats and dogs on the street. Like maybe they stopped in California, maybe, or even my
Yeah.
city, where it's like they stopped selling them because we have an excess of too many animals on the streets.
Like, yeah, let's try to domesticate this feral cat.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing too. If they're strays, like I know you can bring in like a stray cat to get fixed for free. All you
Interesting.
have to do, like I had one at my old apartment, and she just never left. But it was like she always got pregnant. She got pregnant twice in like 6 months.
There was,
She was
uh,
for the streets.
Yeah, so it's kind of
My,
like okay, brought her in to get fixed, and it was free and stuff like
I
that.
don't,
So they have
I
a
don't know if I
program
ever
there.
shared this with Josh. I may have, but my grandmother used to be a pre-K teacher, and one summer, I have no idea where the hell she got the thing, but she ended up purchasing a hedgehog to bring to the class the following year. Yeah, so for the whole summer, we had the hedgehog stay at our house. So that was cool, and of course, I'm guessing it wouldn't be too hard to figure out what we named the hedgehog.
Sonic.
It was totally Sonic, and so yeah, that was actually really cool. So I think that's the closest to having an exotic pet, at least in our any of our households growing up, which was really cool because just the idea of petting a hedgehog seems very far fetched, but I could tell you it can be done.
Okay, so real quick, you said you're allergic, so I'm thinking what you need is a hairless cat or a hairless dog.
So no, there are hypoallergenic pets for sure.
They're ugly,
there
but
was-
they're
so let's talk
Pretty
about
funny,
dogs
they're
very, very quickly. There's very like the breeds I was looking at, like I hate to be like, oh, I need to have a cute dog, but like I couldn't. There was a couple I gravitated to, but they were really also like expensive to get, right? And so I'll leave that as that. But then cats, to your point, would be like the hairless one. And yes, they are ugly, but you do get to dress them up in coats and everything else. And they're one of the few breeds that says, yes, please dress me because I'm fucking cold. So yeah, that's the whole thing with that. But there, to my understanding, I just lack doing the research. But there are actually cats that have hair that are still hypoallergenic.
Yeah, I forgot what my cat is. I might be butchering it, but I think she's like a tortoiseshell cat or whatever. She's like black with like stripes and all that stuff.
Okay.
And so far her dander doesn't bother me, unlike most cats. And then same thing with my dog Gabby before she passed away. The mix, she was a dog that didn't shed, so she was perfect for my allergies, where it didn't really bother me and I could pet her.
Yeah, I know. I'm not too sure about dogs as to what causes the allergy issue, but I know with cats, it's not necessarily the dander; it's their saliva, and when they're cleaning themselves, that's what then ejects it.
Yes.
I remember, like, I want to say about like 2 years ago, and once again, I haven't furthered the research to see where it might be at, but I remember reading an article and seeing on the news that they were working on a shot for the cats that would kill that enzyme from their saliva, so that way people wouldn't be allergic to them anymore. I don't know where that's at.
As much as that's cool, I wonder if it would have a negative effect on their... Because I'm assuming they would need that enzyme to clean themselves and keep them healthy from whatever bacteria or ticks or whatever they have.
Once again, I may be ignorant by just bringing it to light, but I don't know,
it's for scientists.
Underlying effects. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, let the scientists handle that for a second. But no, I just thought it sounded very awesome, because if they could figure that out, that would be fantastic.
So let me get this straight. So you went from my dog's fat teacup to saliva and cats. How did that happen?
That's how this works. If we just keep going.
Here. We're still keeping on the theme.
But you guys says yours. Steve says he wanted like a snow leopard if it was exotic and tameable, but then
fair for me. Okay, so what's yours, Josh?
If I was gonna go with like a crazy animal, I'm not sure if dire wolves even exist, but I would love a wolf. But I guess the closest thing I could probably get is like a Siberian Husky. And
I can get you Twilight series.
Oh, yeah. I'll name him Jacob. But if I wasn't...
How did you know that?
I did. But if I wasn't allergic, I would like a Siberian Husky, because they're like the most beautiful creatures I've ever seen in my life. Like, they have blue eyes. Well, obviously they're different, but the one I seen that was like the most beautiful thing, it had blue eyes, pure white fur, and I'm like, I would love to have that dog.
I wanted to. We had Teacup and Mushu, and we were saying that like we're gonna have one big dog, one small dog, and I wanted, when it was time for Teacup to go, I wanted a Husky, and she wants a Husky. But then all of a sudden Teacup, passed. She's like, I don't want a big dog. I can't handle a big dog right now. I just want something to cuddle with me. I want a Pomeranian. I'm like,
make the best of two worlds. Get that Pomsky then.
Yes.
Slowly suggest it and have the Husky be your third dog.
No. 2 is enough. But
for
I
now.
have to wait for Mushu. Mushu is still young. Mushu is like 4 years old, I would say. Maybe 4.5. So he still got, I'm sure he's going to live to be like 16. So we still got like another like 10, 11 years with him.
That salt and pepper makes him look older.
Yeah. You already got the gray hair and the white.
Yeah.
But it's like, I want my, same thing. I want the Husky, but...
Yeah, no, Huskies are beautiful. Sounds like I'm gloating here, but we had Huskies multiple times. We had a male and female, so... Yeah. Great dogs.
If they can make a shot for Huskies and make them allergic, I would definitely get one.
That would be
heaven. To like Alaska and move there. It's too cold for them to lick each other or lick themselves, because their tongue will get caught on the fur. And
but they still shed like mothers. They shed like you
outside the barn.
Avoid that. You cannot avoid that.
Yeah, their shedding is crazy.
Multiple times in the barn in Alaska, like they have to be used to the cold. You're not allowed to bring them in, or sometimes they bring them in, I guess. But I'm thinking like they're gonna.
I think
the movies I watched, like they usually. Have you seen 8 Below with Paul Walker?
Are you talking about the one where they have like all these like mushing dogs, and then he has them like in a barn?
Well, that one was I forgot what that one's called. They had one with Cuba Gooding Jr.
I seen that one. That was a
No,
good
that
one.
one I've seen. I can't remember the name of it though. That was
Yeah,
wasn't that
I've
Snow
heard.
Dogs?
Yes.
It might have been Snow Dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Snow Dogs.
Snow Dogs.
Below 8 is another one where it's I guess they were climbing the
Based on a
mountain
true
stuff.
story.
Big, yeah. It was a big like storm and stuff. The dogs got lost, and they had to leave the dogs behind because it was too dangerous for them to be where they were at. And I guess it was like 8 months or 6 months later or something like that, where that was like the next time they were actually able to go back and see the dogs or whatever. And the dogs survived on their own for like 6 to 8 months or something like that by themselves, out in the cold, eating everything else.
If I like see like the first 10 or 15 minutes of it, I'd probably remember. I just don't remember right now.
Yeah, I haven't
But it
same
sounds
that movie
familiar,
since
though.
like 2005 or 6. Like it was one of those early 2000 movies, and I remember both of them, and they were really good. But I wonder, were they made by Disney?
Which
More
one?
than likely. I know Snow Dogs was, I think.
Snow
I don't know
Dogs
about the other
was
one.
8 Below, maybe. They also did Iron Will, which is another last and slow.
I haven't seen that one.
That's a good one. It's on Disney Plus.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Put that on my list.
They have what was the other one? They have the new one. Who played the Goblin on Spider-Man? He came out with one. Fargo? Is it Fargo? It might be Fargo. That's a good one.
Fargo, the show or movie?
Movie.
Okay, I haven't seen the movie.
I think it was Fargo. I think that's what it was. They had the Journey to Night Again, which is very old, 1980s, maybe 1990. I know I'm old when I say that. The Journey to Night Again, something like that. I think you can find that on Disney Plus.
I'll have to put that on my list. But one thing I noticed that's on your desk, I know we talked about it earlier, is Pokemon cards. I want to mention it myself because I know, I'm not sure if you've gone to McDonald's at all. I know Steve has definitely gone to McDonald's, but they're giving away Pokemon cards. I originally had the box right here, but I forgot it was on my chair and was covered up, and I sat on it, so now it's gone.
Oh, you can't even like open them up anymore. They're gone.
But I have the pack. I have the cards here. The only one, I don't even know what collections they have, but the one I got was a holographic Smeagol.
Ooh.
But I know you two are definitely card collectors. I want to know what is your most valuable card and favorite card in your collections.
Oh, I don't even know.
And we're talking strictly just Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you could talk about baseball too if you want, but I'm talking about Pokemon.
I'll just stick with Pokemon. Oh man, my favorite one? Now that was a tough one. I would say probably my most valuable one though, I think right now is probably that Rainbow Charizard that I have out of, I forgot the set already. Was it Brilliant Stars, I think?
Oh, that one's newer. Yeah, a couple. Last year.
No, that was like just only a couple sets ago.
Okay, was it earlier this year?
Yeah, I think so.
I know they're kind of what. That Astral Radiance. That was the last one, right?
I believe you're correct. Yes.
And then they have the new one that's coming out. I think next week. No, I'm going to a pre-release.
There's like two that are up, like really close coming. One is on pre-order right now. The other one I think is still yet to come out. I'm not too sure. It's hard to keep up with. I'm starting to tone down a little bit. I was like buying like at least one Elite Trainer box per set just to have.
Yeah.
But the Pokemon Go one was the last one I kind of binged with. I was like, I kind of want to get the whole set because it's the one related to Go, and then I was gonna kind of retire a little bit. Although you never really retire, I guess. So my that one I would say is probably most valuable, but my favorite one, that one's tricky. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, it still might be that one if I'm being honest, because that one I actually have I have this cool like case. I think Josh has seen it, where I put my more prized possession cards in there. But yeah, I think if very quickly, if you want me to segue to baseball cards, I heavily collected. Well, I'm a Chicago Cubs fan first foremost, so I collected a lot of Cubs cards. The enemy, yes. And back in 2015 is kind of when I started going pretty hard because they had a lot of rookies, and one of those rookies was Chris Bryant. So I was collecting a lot of his cards, and there's a set called 2015 Topps High Tech, and the cards are pretty much like plastic and clear acetate is what they're called, so they're kind of like see-through. Fucking adore those cards. They look badass. Longer story short, I own the 1 of 1 of his rookie card, so it's the only one printed. So I think that one is definitely my favorite.
Right.
So baseball
is that a keepsake or one of those that you're waiting for the value to go up?
I would flip it. But for
not a true fan.
It's still true fan. I mean, just like anything, everything has a price. If someone's willing to wow you per se, I'd be willing to give it up. So
now I know Matt. He has he went to grading and all this stuff, and I know the cards he has. But Matt, what is your favorite, and what is your most valuable?
I've sold most of my stuff now because I know I can tell you the story I got about the the grading. It's awesome to be able to do it, but I also got stuck with the with everybody getting their cards graded, and it took a year to get the grading, the PSA grading back. And then so I bought a box and I opened it with you, Josh, and it was the Evolutions booster box, and it was one of those things. I think I bought it for like $500 back in the day, and opened it. I got the Charizard Holo. I got the Reverse Charizard, and by far that was the most exciting one I unpacked, and I was very, very happy until I sent it to PSA to get graded. Mm-hmm. So then you're like, if I get a PSA 10. I mean, that Holo Charizard is gonna be worth like $2,000-$3,000, whatever. Mm-hmm. Just to be let down, you got a 9. And I'm like, then you just get like upset, like you're just like, I spent. I mean, it was only $13. Like it was $13 a card back then. Now it's like $100 a card for PSA. But it's still like, okay, now the card was worth like $150 or $130, $140, $150 instead of $2,000-$3,000. Then you just like heart's broken. It's like I don't care anymore.
Yeah. So like, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say like most of the stuff I even had the Vivid Voltage complete set with the Rainbow Pikachu and stuff. But I had the whole set, sold it for like $1,000.
Nice.
Things like that. I enjoy opening. I think they're fun. Collecting wise, I'm just I just love opening out of it. It makes you feel excited when you actually get it. I mean, even now, like, I think honestly they keep getting better and better with the artwork. Like,
the art is fantastic.
So fucking beautiful. Like the artwork, especially the full art cards. Like now they're doing like a lot of series where they'll have like a particular trainer associated with that Pokemon on the card with them, and they're just so awesome looking. And now they're starting to get in the realm of like variants. I mean, they've always had variants, but even like in the trading card world or baseball, whatever, football and all that stuff, they call them like short prints, right? They're even doing that. I always wonder if they'll ever push the envelope and go into the realm where they start limiting number their cards, just like the sports world.
They probably will.
That would be amazing to collectors, in my opinion, and that would probably definitely lure me in, like really bad.
Well, for me, the one thing I like is I don't have them, but two of the cards that if I would get that I would love is it's like a combo of like Latios. It's not a full art card, but it's like a half art, and they're kind of bouncing out or coming out of the box. Mm-hmm. That's cool. And then there's like a Pikachu and Pichu family, and they're walking out of the box too. I think those cards look the coolest I've ever seen. Like the art is amazing. The print is very clean. You're right. The art just all cards in general now is just fantastic. And I don't know how they're gonna keep topping it. Like it looks amazing now.
Yeah, no, they do a fantastic job, especially like with those full arts or even the rainbows and the golds. Like they have that surface where it's kind of like rigid and like they just do a damn good job.
Now they also, on top of your Pokemon cards you got from McDonald's, they are coming up. I think on the September 1st, they have Halloween Pokemon cards now that you can actually put into the instead of doing candy, you can do the Pokemon cards. It has like a 3-card pack or 4-card pack. It only has, I think it has like maybe like 20 Pokemon cards, just like McDonald's, but they are Halloween scary related. So I think like Gengar is probably one of the bigger ones and stuff. So they have.
Do you get this from McDonald's or where do you get this at?
No, you just get it from like Target, Walmart, whatever.
Yeah,
Albertsons.
I saw it come across my like social media feed at some point. I think it's like the bags of candy. Like you would get like Valentine's cards, right? And you get it with like some candy. I think it's similar. It's a similar approach to that.
Okay, because I was thinking of like the dollar store packs where it's like you get a pack and it's like 3 cards inside of it and that's it. I thought.
Well, I mean, I think that's the approach. It is a pack, but it's going to be attached to like a lollipop or something. The intent is for them to be given away to kids with candy, but that's not.
I'm the kid that needs candy with the cards. Okay. Honestly, I'm not a big card collector like you guys because one, it's crazy expensive to collect and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I might go for those because Halloween is my favorite season, and
it is reasonably priced too. I think it was like you get a bag of 40 packs. And I think it was like an average of like 36 cents a pack.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah, but that's
so I think it was like maybe like $10-12 for the whole thing.
That's always the caveat.
So I'm about to look this up and put that on my list and look out for it.
And then they have the new Pokemon cards, Lost Origin, coming out in a few weeks. I'm actually gonna try to go to their pre-release this weekend. Hopefully, I can make it.
So where would you go for the pre-release? Is that you just go to any store? Or is it like a very special location?
They have certain card collecting stores that get permission to do it. They run like a Pokemon event, and you be a part of it. It's very limited, so that's the reason why the pre-release versions are harder to get. It's like you can't just go anywhere and get them, or then after you get them, it's really hard to find, especially unopened. And so I'm going there just to get it unopened. Like I'm never going to open them. It's still going to be a pre-release. It's going to cost a lot of money. I think Lost Origin is going to be a good set.
Is Lost Origins tied to Legends of Arceus, the games?
I don't think so.
Oh, for some reason it sounds similar.
But I think one thing with Pokemon cards they need to do is start with the big hype that happened like 3 years ago. They started producing more Pokemon cards, and baseball did this back in the 90s. Late 80s to early 90s, and it just devalues the whole.
Yeah.
It's like everybody can get whatever for
mass production. I mean, that kind of happened earlier this year. You see a product of like Darkness Ablaze pop up, and what was the other popular
Chilling
one?
Rain is out there a lot.
I didn't care for Chilling Rain. If it didn't have the Charizard, care about it.
Yeah.
And that's actually true for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, Brilliant is a good one. But it's like even like I go to Target right down the street from my house, and they're gone. Like all the Pokemon cards are gone.
Yeah, same here.
It's like, but then where's all the? It's like the PS5s. Okay, you can't go over and get a PS5 anymore at the grocery store or at like a Target or Walmart. Can't get Pokemon cards at Target or Walmart. Where do we get them? And then their price. Then you go out and spend like $120 on $120 on a booster box, and it's like just to get the most valuable card of $40. It's like it's not, getting a booster box of the packs.
It's funny that you mentioned this because like recently I was looking at a article of people busting down like storage lockers of scalpers, and they were talking about like the story of the scalper. He bought hundreds of thousands of stuff for like PS5 cards, whatever, and he says the majority of them, because they're so overpriced, he doesn't move units well, so they're just mountains of product in their storages because the price is just out of this world. And I'm like, if that's the case, undercut your competition, move that stuff, you're still gonna make a profit. It's like, why keep it in storage if no one can use it? It's like it serves no purpose.
Right. When I got my PlayStation, I thought about just reselling it after I got it. Because it's like you see the price, it's like okay, $1,000 to $1,200. Then I was like, I'm just going to sell it for $900. I bought it for $450 or $500, and then it's like I'll just sell it for $900. I'll go a little bit lower than what everybody else is selling, just so I can sell it and so I make a $400 profit off of it. But I decided not to do that.
And even then, it'd be difficult because there's a lot of people that are like $900. It's like, why? I'll just wait.
But guess what's coming up in a few months? Christmas is around the corner, and everybody gets all the hype, and they're like, "My son wants it, or my daughter wants it, or whoever." It's like my husband wants it.
Yeah.
So it's like they're willing to pay, especially now. It's been like, how long has it been? 3 years?
Yeah. It's close to 3 years because it came out in 2020. So I guess.
2 years then.
Yeah.
Because it came out the end of.
It's crazy. It's already been 2 years.
October, November, I think, of 2020. Right when COVID was happening or something. Yeah. But it was like people were still waiting. I waited 2 years to get mine. I was on the list for it with Sony for like 13, 14 months.
And they've never done a special edition release like all their previous. They can't even afford to do that, right?
You know what? Now that we're talking about this, I'm just gonna move on to the first topic because it's PS5.
Yeah.
But no, you're like, I was one of those fortunate people that was able to get, the PS5 and Xbox, just a few months after the release. But yeah, even now, it's still somewhat difficult to get them. Obviously, they're becoming more available in stores and online. But I can't believe 2.5 years later. Obviously, it's a chip shortage. That's why they're not producing as many.
Right. Yeah, parts, and then to me, another thing too. Even the pros who do video game pros, like, they couldn't get them, and they're like, we're just moving to PC. It's like they are all on with PC, even though Sony I think sponsors them, like Call of Duty or whatever. It's still the actual person cannot get it.
And I think the reason why they do PC as well is because of the customization they could do with viewing. It's also easier to do LAN games as well. So I think that's another reason why they switched to PC. But how do you feel about the PS5 price? Like obviously you got in when the getting was good. You didn't have to pay the extra $50-$60 now that they're charging.
Yeah.
But do you think it was a smart move? Because I feel like obviously all these consoles, they sell at a loss and they make their profits in their online services that they sell.
I thought $400 was a reasonable cost, because I think even like the PS before that, you bought the PS4 for about that much. Like they didn't have a big price unless you got the one with the DVD or CD ROM on it. But like now it's like I don't even know. Like I moved into the digital world. I'm not doing the having the hard copies anymore. I'm just gonna have the digital. But it's like even when I bought mine, there was no more of the regular PlayStation. I had to buy the one with Horizon, which was an extra like $50.
Yeah.
All the originals were sold out within within I think 40 minutes, 40 minutes on the actual Sony website that you had to be pre-registered to get, and you're only allowed to get one per customer.
Yeah, one makes sense though, so you can't stockpile it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you're talking about Price Spike. Are you talking about the aftermarket?
No, this is retail. Like they raised retail prices by I think $60 or $80.
Yeah, I knew they were. Yeah, I just read it this morning that they were doing that. It's sad.
Interesting.
Yeah, Xbox and Microsoft are laughing at them like, we're not doing that. You're gonna lose customers that way. Like even this price spike that they have.
If I may say, they're not gonna lose me because I'm still gonna get one regardless. If it's gonna guarantee me getting one, I'm still gonna pay it.
Yeah, but you're also a loyal person to brands.
No, that isn't. Well, okay, yes, that's true, but I'm not loyal to the fact that I had to get it day one because I still don't have it. There was nothing on there for me to buy it day one.
If you got day one, you would have got cheaper.
Not even year one. Well, that's partially true as well. But nonetheless, there was no reason to get it until what I think October 21st now is when is coming out. That's like the first game I've been wanting and waiting for. But then it's like Final Fantasy heaven for the next few years. So now is my time to I should say have to get one, but desiring to get one.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you know what? It is what it is. Like you spoke to the point, like the cost to make it was, they're cutting their losses anyway, but it is what it is.
Like even
I'm not too mad about it.
even the small little price hike is still not going to give them profits on any of this stuff. So why they do it, it makes no sense. And also,
Well,
consoles over time, they usually devalue, not increase in value, especially with the next generation coming out soon.
You have all these things that PlayStation is trying to do to make it better than Xbox or the same as Xbox. Because Xbox gives the person who buys it more options to do things. Okay?
Debatable.
So in order, that's what they did with even the PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live. It was one of those things like I think PlayStation Plus was cheaper. The Xbox Live was like you get a lot more with the Xbox Live.
If you're talking about PS3 and 360, Xbox was paid and PS3 was free until PS4.
Exactly, you're right. So then it's like now they have the whatever edition where you pay the extra money for the PlayStation Plus that you mentioned earlier to me, and then on top of that, it's like, well, in order for us to compete against Microsoft, we need to raise the price so we can actually add all the things we want to add, because we can't just like do it. So it's kind of sad. Like they raised the price for the PlayStation Plus. They went from free to like $40, $45, and then they raised it up to $60. Now it's like, where else can we find more money? It's like people are not going to pay $120 just to be online and not play any of the games. Like I just want to be online. Most of the time, I just want to be online. Now it's like I kind of want to play the extra games. But it's like for the most part, I just want to play multiplayer. And in order to do that, I got to pay all this money, and it's kind of sad.
Well, the good thing is to add to your point is that with this increased spike, even to their live services, they did mention that you don't need the paid version to play multiplayer games. They took that away. You can play multiplayer games for free now.
Oh, wow. That's good. Did not know that.
Yeah, I think they did that because Xbox did it. Yeah, well, Xbox did it first, but PlayStation has now changed it to where multiplayer is now free.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, you just need an Ethernet port. You can't buy anything if you don't have PlayStation Plus, but you can play multiplayer games if it's included with the physical game you bought.
Uh-huh.
When you say buy anything, like what do you mean? Like
microtransactions, DLC, all that stuff.
That sounds stupid. You're just shooting yourself in the foot by not allowing that.
Yeah, I don't know. They're very weird how they said it, because all they just said is online play is free.
But like Activision is going to throw a fit, because they're like, we're now making all this money, and people in Fortnite, they're making all this money on micro DLCs, and you're telling me that they're going to lose money now that they can play for free?
I don't know. I have to look at it, but I know that there's certain games that you can't buy like transactions. It's just only multiplayer. That's it.
Wow,
that's
really weird.
But that's free. If you have obviously the paid version, you can do whatever you want.
Right. I'll pay for mine for a little bit now for this next year and see what happens.
I mean, like,
if it is really worth it for me to pay the $100 for the year or whatever it was.
Like, I'm wondering if the price spike is even due to maybe their library. Like I said, I mean,
for some reason your mic cut off, Steve, when you were talking.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just start from the beginning, I guess. But no, I didn't really say too much, anyways. But no, I was saying I'm wondering if the price spike is happening because due to their catalog, and I'm not saying I'm in that popular group of people, but like I said, my reason in buying the system now in the near future is due to their catalog and library becoming of something that I want to, or that I need a console. And I'm wondering if that's something they might be realizing too. But playing devil's advocate for a moment here, as I like to do a lot, as you know, normally when price spikes happen, generally it's because the parts that they need to make the system, whoever they get them from, they have to pay an increase for those same type of things. So that's why now they have to include the cost on the customer. Doesn't make it right, but that's usually how the world of supply chain works and how things get pushed down to the customer, like everything else happened in this world with inflation. So that's my devil's advocate approach, although I don't know what the exact reason is. Yeah, it's just, this
now, on the positive
side,
you could have said, hey, look, you know what they decided to do? They decided to bring all the old PlayStations back, all PlayStation games back. So what they're going to do, the extra $60 is going to make them into a digital version that you can play on any
A full
PlayStation.
backwards compatible library.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like, but it's like you can play any game. So it's like from PlayStation all the way up to PlayStation 5,
but
any game.
now you're talking about Wet Dream Fantasies.
Well, no, they're starting that because Xbox did that.
Well,
I'm not. Well,
There's Modern Warfare remastered and stuff like that. I mean, they can make all the other ones remastered, and it's not just Call of Duty. It's like every game.
yeah, no, I'm hearing you.
So for both, since both of you don't have PlayStation Premium, I can tell you this: I own both services. I own Game Pass. I own PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation is taking the Xbox approach. They're finally porting they're emulating a lot of PS1 and PS2 games. Like Steve, you know about Dark Cloud being on PS4. They ported that over, but now they're doing Resident Evil, Siphon Filter, Okage, a whole bunch of other games, and I think they're doing this emulation test right now to see how well it performs, to invest more money to see if bringing this back catalog will work.
I have premium. I just haven't used it yet.
Oh, you got premium?
Last night. Yeah, I got it last night.
That's
so
awesome.
I upgraded it. I forgot. So my PS4 broke, and I haven't played it for like 6 months because it broke. So I'm like, well, I'm not gonna buy another PS4 because it costs almost the same amount as the PS5. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait, and then I got tired of waiting, so I even like canceled it. Like I'm like, so they said like, oh, your PlayStation Plus will end, when it's time to renew it. Well, I get the PS5. It still hasn't been the time yet to renew my my PlayStation Plus. So I was like, I think it's like next month or like 2 months. I'm supposed to like renew my PlayStation Plus, but they said like it's only going to cost like $350 a month until then.
So you just said something that triggered to me that I didn't
Triggered
realize.
me.
The PS, not in a negative way. No, you said that the PS4 is just as valuable as the 5. A, I did not know that, and B, why is that? Did they stop manufacturing 4s already?
I think they just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Well, I was gonna say they're just as because there's no PS5s to get. PS4 is the only one you can get at the stores.
So did they? So they do still sell them in a store.
Yes, because that's the only one that everybody can like get. They can still get. They have so many of them still in stock.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is, in the aftermarket, they'll still sell as retail price.
Right. I mean, I think it's still lower than retail. It still might be like.
Right now, it's still
$400.
Well, this year they actually stopped making PS4. They've announced that they stopped production,
cool.
But from 2020 to 2022, whenever they stopped production, PS4s were still selling at full price. Even the old ones, the first generation PS4s, were selling at full price.
I got the Batman version, so I should try to flip that now.
It's funny because Matt says this, and there's a lot of consumers that got played, in 2020 by buying PS4s and Xbox One X's, thinking that they were the new systems, and they weren't. And they paid full prices, not knowing which version they got. So a lot of kids, obviously, this was an outcry during the holiday market in 2022, but a lot of kids were like, this is what we wanted, and then the parents were angry, and then they started bringing their consoles back and asking for all this money, and a lot of stores eventually had to reject them because there's too many systems being brought back.
Wow, I didn't even know about that.
It was a big thing in 2020 because of the confusion in the market, especially with Xbox and their branding.
All sales final.
Yeah, I wish I would have had a lot of money back then to buy whatever I wanted.
It's funny. I was even telling Matt this because when PS5s came out, I'm like, oh, look at how these price spikes, and I was able to get all these systems. I'm like, I could probably flip these, and I'm like, nah, that's too scummy. I'm not gonna do that.
Well, they have a seal now, so I bought mine, and on the box there's 2 seals, and once you break it, it's no longer like before like they do have it on the PlayStation where like if you undo these screws, like PlayStation is no more longer liable to
cover them. No warranty anymore, I don't think.
Yeah.
You void the warranties basically.
Yeah, you void the warranty. So now they have it on the box. So it's kind of like I didn't want to do it. I didn't even cut it until like yesterday when I decided I really want the PS5 because I was afraid like, well, if I want to resell it, if I break that seal, like I can't sell it for the normal price. I have to sell it for like a discounted price because. I broke the. It sounds kind of.
That wouldn't matter in the open market, I don't think.
Yeah, I
breaking
think
the
they just
seal.
want a PS5 and that's it.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
such a status symbol.
But
Right.
to go back to the whole PlayStation price spike, obviously you two covered it quite well. That they gotta one pay their suppliers and then two get more funds for projects because Steve and I said this a couple times because PlayStation's been a topic recently with all their stuff. How they've shot themselves in the foot this generation with how they've been, sticking to the guns, not trying to branch out, and now they're feeling that pain. I think they need the money to, fund PlayStation Plus, get more games on their platform. But I still think they're holding on to the past because PlayStation Plus, they won't bring any of their exclusive titles on their service day one, and I think that's also going to hurt them.
Yeah. They have a lot, they have to do to make things right in the PlayStation side of things. So, and raising the prices is not, the way to do it because it's the same thing with taxes in the country. If if you pay your taxes and stuff, or things are cost more, or like if you live in California, they're trying to get rid of gasoline cars for good by 2035, and you're hurting. I said something today on Facebook. It was just like our governor wants everybody to have basically electric vehicles by 2035. Okay, it's not going to happen. People have classic cars. They want to drive it down Pacific Coast Highway on the beach, near the beach, and coast. It's not going to happen. And two, I said, it's not a good start when you want to have everybody an electric vehicle by 2035 when you kicked out Tesla in California and they went to Texas. It's like if you were that into it, you would have been on Elon Musk's side and giving him whatever he needed to produce whatever cars he needed in California.
Especially,
you wanted to tax the crap out of them.
I'll say it's not just Tesla though. I mean, there's many manufacturers that are
Ford,
moving down that line.
Mercedes.
So it doesn't even matter anymore to do with it.
Yeah,
Were they the quote unquote innovators and ushering this? Yeah, of course. But all because they left, it has no impact on everybody else getting electric cars. But
and people nowadays, the dealerships, man, they're coming out with some crazy electric cars. They look cool. You had to see the new Charger. Oh my god!
I actually did. It was on the street here recently in Chicago. I was driving down Pulaski. It was really cool looking from the back. I didn't see the front because it was in front of me, but the back looked awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but we'll see what happens. I mean,
we bought a Tesla. I mean, it took us 7 months to get the Tesla. We had to put a down payment, which isn't much. It's I think you put down $500,000 for the down payment, but it's still 7 months to get an electric vehicle.
I wonder if if it's better to get it from Tesla itself, because here in Chicago, there's loads of car dealerships near me, and I see loads of them with Teslas. There's at least 5-7 Teslas on the lot, and I'm like, I thought Tesla was the only one selling them. I guess they're partnering with dealerships, or these dealerships are buying them off of other people, and that's how they're selling them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably a used car dealership, right? Used car. I mean, well, it doesn't even have to be used car. Even the name brand dealerships sell used cars. So
yeah, these are the name brand dealerships, and they sell obviously their new cars and then all these other stuff.
I would probably think.
I mean, the resale value too is about the same. So you pay for the car, you get the same amount of money back.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. One thing to answer you, there's a lot of companies now that have electric vehicles now. And they have new companies that have electric vehicles that are coming out. I think NIO, they're coming out with stuff. But then you have Dodge, you have Ford, all these companies that have cars that are electric now. So it's starting to become a regular thing. But
no, it definitely is. It's definitely become mainstream. I'm even seeing around. Didn't really see them all until months ago. There's more charge stations and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah, but then so we have a charging station here at the house, and one thing I noticed, so I have solar panels on my roof, and we got more solar panels than what the house needs. So we get
your house is glowing with all the power it's already absorbed.
Right. You have to see all the lights I have around the house. But I get the Tesla, or I say I get the Tesla. My mother-in-law got the Tesla, and you talk about like my I don't know, electrical usage is like through the roof. It's like the charging costs to do your Tesla, it like just dramatically. It depends on how much you drive too. If it's something like you just drive in town, it's like it probably won't be as bad. But you have to like I have to go to Santa Monica, and it's like a full charge back and forth, or for one trip. I have to recharge the whole thing and it costs like $30-$40 to charge that full trip.
So it's like I went to the gas station.
Yeah, it's so much cheaper than the gas station. But it's like, to me, it was like all the solar panels I have on the house. Like I've seen people who have, big houses who have like a little bit more solar panels than I do, and they're like they have like all the energy in the world. And it's like for some reason the charging of the Tesla is like it takes so much to charge it, but it's still valuable compared to having a gasoline car, at least right now while the prices are still high.
Yeah.
Well,
And go on.
You go first.
I was gonna say, like, recently I've been I've thought about solar panels for a while, but unfortunately here in Chicago it's not always sunny. There's very overcast most of the time, or just cloudy.
But solar energy goes through the clouds. That's just why you could get a sunburn.
Well, yeah, you got the UV rays, yeah, but I don't know if it's as useful. Like, I mean, you also have to pay to get those solar panels on, because I think we have taxes for solar panels in Chicago or Illinois.
Tax for everything.
But I'm like, with the amount of money you spend, the amount of money you pay for just to have them on, is it really worth it? And do you generate enough electricity to make the difference? And I'm like,
why you do a cost analysis? You don't know until you do a cost analysis.
Well, that's the thing, is I have, and I also have neighbors that have things, and they said it was one of the worst mistakes they've ever made because they don't generate nearly enough. In Chicago, you got to remember different. Yeah. You guys are always sunny, not here.
It's always sunny in California.
But they said that they're actually losing money because of solar panels, and I'm like, oh, that's so disappointing because one, I want a Tesla, two, I want solar panels, but just right now for prices in Chicago, it just doesn't seem worth it still.
Here it's one thing we got a tax break which happened all up until this year, I think, maybe even next year. We got like $10,000 back.
That must be nice.
I think it cost $37,000 for. I think we got 24 panels for $37,000, and then they can do it like over like a mortgage payment. Like it's like over the next 25 years, which you can pay like $60 a month. So it's not even like that bad. But then, like, for me, it's like, I don't want to pay 25 years for solar panels. So I moved it down to like half that, which is 12 and a half years. I did a 12-year plan. It's, I think right now it's like $250 a month. So it's like, to me, in California, that's still good because we're using the air conditioner quite a bit in California. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you have to.
Yeah.
A little hot, yeah, sure. People in UK would die even if they had half your temperatures.
Yeah. I think it's been like it's 100-degree weather for like the 45th day in a row or something like that. I don't know. Depends on where you live in California, But if you live next to the beach, it's probably like 70 to 80 degrees every day.
Like good ocean breeze.
Yeah, when you live down in the valley, it's like 100-degree weather, and you're like cooking.
Okay, so so you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was, I guess Debbie.
Your mic went out.
Your mic cut out.
Did it cut off? Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
I don't know why it keeps doing it. Maybe it's because it's the multiple feeds. But no, I was just gonna be Debbie Downer here and say like it'll be interesting to see what this spike happens to PlayStation. I don't foresee them really suffering from it, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that because I'm still going to get it no matter what their price is. I just really firmly believe that. Just because the demand is still high. I mean,
it is.
I just gotta say this. You and I were both for some reason on the same wavelength because I was actually about to reel it back too and go to Gamescom with the games, and you're like PlayStation. Well, I can't speak for Steve, but obviously. I'm a novice when it comes to cars. I only know the cars I like and all that stuff. So the car topic is more fresh for us. But and also Steve doesn't like to get too much into
Wait,
other
you know
stuff.
what? I'll just move to the
That's not
Nintendo
true.
Switch rather than play PlayStation.
The Switch.
Not
Okay,
true.
it's funny. Steve and I have had multiple fights on how I view the Switch. The games are fun, but we have different views on the system itself.
We bought the Switch, and we bought games for it. We thought it would be fun, like something we can do as a family. But it's like maybe once every like 3 months we actually turn it on, and then we have like basically the only time somebody uses it is when we have our nieces and nephew come over who are like 7 years old, wanting to play it. Like, what games do you have? Oh, that's it? You don't have any more Super Mario games? It's like they're the only ones that play it. And then so far it's like the Switch just sits there and like collects dust. But I mean, I grew up with Super Mario Bros. I love it. I'm glad we have it, and I'm sure there was, like, I don't even have the internet set or the internet. I don't have the multiplayer set up on it.
So
I have the Bash Brothers one. Super Bash Brothers.
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers. Yeah.
Smash Brothers. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the name of it. Yeah.
So I guess now that we're on the game subject, I guess we can go over to topic number 2, which is the Gamescom announcement. It's pretty much like the end wrap up season for summer of all the games coming out in the near future. Right. Going to like Mario and stuff like that. I think you guys are into Sonic, right?
Yep.
Frontiers looked fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Is that the same one that has been meaning to come out, or did they already release a new type of Sonic game before this? That's why I was kind of confused. Is this the one that everyone's kind of been waiting for?
I think this is the one, like, so how like Zelda has like their different different genres of Zelda games. One is like the 3 storylines. I think this one is kind of like the successor to like the Xbox, like more open world battle games. I can't think of the names. I wish I could remember them, but they're not following the classic path.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe I didn't ask my question correctly. Is this what was the last big Sonic game that came out, or is this?
I think it was Sonic Mania.
Sonic Mania. Okay, so no, this is the one that people are waiting for. I thought it looked fantastic. I want to play it. But I said that about Kirby, and I haven't touched Kirby yet. but it looks fantastic. It looks great. That probably through Gamescom as a whole, outside of Batman, those were probably my top 2. There wasn't. I know you're probably gonna be polar opposite of me, but I watched a lot of it. I didn't watch every single minute of it. There wasn't a lot there for me. There was a lot of zombie type, scary type of games, which is fine, I guess. If that's what the market wants, that's what the market gets. But none of that really is attractive to me. So I didn't really care for the Gamescom. But there were a couple things that were
8th of November.
There was a lot of games that looked, beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love how almost every game has these big, beautiful shots of this huge environment with majestic, backgrounds and all that. But they all almost appeared the same to me.
I will agree that there's a lot of games that have they're very similar. Like, for example, there's a game that they announced called Lords of the Fallen. You can blend that game in with loads of Dark Souls games like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, and
Is that the one that looked like Arthas was fighting a bunch of
demons?
Yeah. I was like, it looked nice, but it looked like a handful of the other games they just released were all first trailers of. It's like,
it looked from software. But going back to Sonic, because I wanted to talk about it because I couldn't remember the name, but Sonic Frontiers reminds me a lot of Sonic Heroes and Sonic Adventures from the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 games. And I think that's why people are so excited, because they were so different than the classic Sonics, where it's just linear and 2D. This was more like open world 3D, and I'm really looking forward to it.
My genre right there, the 2D.
Oh, you would love Sonic Mini and Sonic CD then.
Yeah, I remember when Sonic came out.
You were there.
I was there. I had it.
But this one, the trailer that they presented, I'm not saying it was like a mashup, but they kind of had a little bit of a Mario Odyssey approach, where it's like it's open. To your point, it's open world, 3D, but they were also paying homage with certain parts, where it's like, oh, we're going to do the classic Sonic look for a couple levels and whatnot, which is fantastic. I think is great. And I played the hell out of Adventures. I think it was Adventures 2 maybe, with the little chows, where you had the different chows and you had to breed them and all that stuff. Fantastic game.
And I know, I'm not sure if you ever played Sonic Forces. I know, depending on the the community, it's kind of hated for some people, but I like Sonic Forces too, and I was kind of similar to that as well. But go ahead.
Can't ever really recall if I did or didn't. So.
Sonic Forces is one of the new ones. It came out like on Xbox and PS4.
Oh, okay then. No, then I didn't touch that one then.
Matt, you probably haven't seen Gamescom at all. But is there any games that you're looking forward to in the coming future besides Modern Warfare 2?
I haven't seen this year, and it kind of I've always been the Call of Duty player. You know this.
Yeah.
And,
you're gonna get Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2, was coming out. My ears did kind of perk up, but it was still. I'm more like the Black Ops series than the Modern Warfare one, but actually, it's not more. Is it Modern Warfare 2 this year?
Yep, Modern Warfare 2.
It is.
Vanguard was the one that was supposed to. Was the one else that was?
Vanguard was this year,
right? Which I'm playing now.
Mm.
What was the one that? What was that one we played? The World War II one or whatever, or World War One. Remember we played it like a few years ago. It came out a few years ago. It
was called World War II by Sledgehammer.
Yeah, it was a really World War. It was a World War II.
It was called WW2. Yeah.
I remember. I told you I remember.
Call of Duty has like the worst naming. It's like they've gotten so uncreative that they came and make new names. It's like, oh, Modern Warfare. I'm like, you have 3 Modern Warfares. Which one are we talking about now? Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, that one again.
Modern Warfare. Which one?
Vanguard now, right? Or help make Vanguard, right? I think Sledgehammer was the one that made Vanguard.
Yeah,
we had Black Ops series last year. We had Black Ops, and then we had Vanguard, and then now we're gonna have Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, so
Modern Warfare 2. So, anyways, still the Modern Warfare series compared to the Black Ops series, we can go over that in their topic. But it's still like I got like a little bit of interest, especially since I got the PlayStation 5. Like maybe I want to get, but I think being a old man like me, I need to start moving away from the Call of Duty and start playing gate games.
Well, you can still play Call of Duty and still enjoy it, even if you're not playing at like a competitive level. Like there's still ways to play casually in Call of Duty if you can find it. Even though it's hard, but you can still play casually.
Oh, by the way, a little bit off topic, but a little bit on topic. If you guys are interested in a video game movie, I think it was on.
Don't say Resident Evil.
No, it was on. I think it's on Amazon Prime. It's called 8-Bit.
Wait. 8-Bit Christmas or
no. That's an okay movie too. This one's called 8-Bit.
Is it with Adam Sandler?
No, this one has basically like the first all-girl competitive team.
Oh, for Tetris. Is that
no,
for...
it wasn't Tetris. It was some other. You're way off, bud.
Dude, I've seen so many video game movies that like my mind is like, oh, is it the 8-Bit Tetris one where they're playing at the first Nintendo World Cup or whatever? I've seen so many.
If you're the old school, watch The Wizard, okay?
The Wizard of Oz? The Wizard of Oz?
Super Mario Brothers 3 was announced, okay? That was my go-to with Christian Slater and whatever the Wonder Years guy's name again. I forgot his name. It's been a long time. That was a great movie, though. I love that movie. The Wizard.
8-Bit. I'll have to. Well, I haven't seen The Wizard and I haven't seen 8-Bit, so I'll put that on my list. Amazon.
8-Bit, I don't think is on. I'm sorry. I don't think The Wizard is on any streaming platform.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
I don't know. You might be able to get it on Apple Plus or something.
But I'll definitely watch 8-Bit because I've seen a lot of video game movies where it's not God, I can't think of the name, but it was basically like about Gears of War and tournaments and people going there and having fun. But God, damn it, I forgot what I was talking about. I just completely lost my train of thought thinking about the movies.
Well, outside of Sonic Frontiers, what else piqued your interest from Gamescom?
that's actually what I was gonna talk about, and I forgot it. I was trying to like regather my thoughts, but I was also thinking at the same time, and I gave myself a brain freeze.
Well, I know you also have an interest for Gotham Knights as well. So
I actually don't have an interest in Gotham
you
Knights.
don't?
No.
Really? Oh, well, that shocks me then.
I think the reason is because I've seen the gameplay, and I'm also not really invested in like Robin, whatever the Blackwing is or Darkwing.
Yeah, I could concur with that assessment, but at the same time, it's also intriguing. It's like, okay, well, what will they bring to the table and everything? And I will say this: watching that trailer, I don't know why, but I felt like I know we always get in big conversations with graphics, but as far as how great the graphics look, I didn't think they looked that great compared to all the other games. They looked bad.
It's funny because they've actually, a lot of people have done technical breakdowns on it. Arkham Knight that came out, 2016, 15, whatever, is actually better looking than Gotham or Arkham Knights. What'd you say, Matt?
I remember you playing that.
What are you playing?
No, I said I remember you playing that. Was it Arkham Knights or whatever? Then you played a Batman one recently.
You're probably thinking about Spider-Man, but I did play Arkham Asylum probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, I've known you for how long?
You've known me for a while. This is true. Time flies.
Old, okay? I'm getting old.
But I guess to Steve's point, so there's no other game. Obviously, you haven't been in the gaming space in a while because you had personal things to go for. But there's no like games on PlayStation Plus or anything besides Modern Warfare you're looking forward to.
Me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even know anything that's really. I mean, I'm waiting to get back into Destiny. I'm not even sure what's going on there. I know they had.
What is video games?
What are video games?
Dude, he's been away from me for so long. I gotta retrain him.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I was a diehard, Call of Duty fan and Destiny for that matter. I love Destiny. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. If you get into Destiny right now, it's like anytime is a good time to get into Destiny. At least that's my saying. Because Lightfall looks good. I pre-ordered the collector's edition, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I saw your tweets.
And
okay.
Yeah.
So real quick, I'm sorry. It's not called 8-bit. It's called 1UP.
Isn't
that what the Adam Sandler?
I thought that's what I was thinking. Isn't that the Adam Sandler one?
No, it's not the Adam Sandler one.
I don't know.
I guess I'll still look at him.
The girl is good looking girl. Her name was Vivian in the movie, and then it's Paris Barelk, I think his name. Hopefully I'm not butchering her name. And then Ruby Rose, she played in one of the Pitch Perfect movies, Pitch Perfect 2, I think. But it's kind of like, there were like a couple girls who were backups for an esports guys team. They said that they were better than the guys, so they decided to come up with their own esports team. And they had to all get on the same page, and they needed a coach and all sorts of stuff. But it was like, it got bad ratings. But it was, as far as if you're a gamer, you might actually understand the movie.
Oh, this just came out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll watch it because I'm interested in this stuff. There's pretty much the concept of this one reminds me of another movie that I can't think of the name of, where they're pretty much, it's a girls squad competing with guys. They're playing Gears of War, and they actually end up winning their champions, and they're called like Team Vixen or whatever. It was a pretty good movie.
Listen, this one got 2.8 out of 10 on the rating on whatever that movie rating thing is.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes, thank you. I think it was Rotten Tomatoes. So it's like, I think it's like you could maybe like if you're into esports at all, I think you kind of like relate to it a little bit more, and maybe that's the reason why. Like maybe like a normal, it's not made for everybody to watch. But
yeah, it's made for the competitive gamer.
Huh? Yeah, it'd be maybe a competitive gamer or even somebody who likes to watch esports games or whatever. It's like maybe that's the reason why.
If you like 1UP, there's I think it might still be on Netflix, but it's a series called Video Game High School, and that's a pretty good show. You haven't seen it?
What was it? On what streaming?
I believe it's on Netflix. Like they could have taken it off, but that's where I seen it. It's called Video Game High School, and the show was actually made from a YouTuber. I believe his channel was like Rocket Jump Man or whatever,
Oh.
and they did a really good job with that show. Unfortunately, it just didn't do well because it wasn't popular enough. But for a gamer, it fit my needs.
I'll have to look it up.
But I guess in my list because I'm the real gamer compared to you two.
This is true.
Yeah,
What happens when you get old? You start going down to like Nintendo Switch and playing Super Mario Brothers. You know, play these cool games anymore. Things are just getting like. Okay, I'm back to NES. Okay, the original regular Nintendo. We had 2 buttons and a pad. Okay, now you're getting onto these like joysticks that have like or these controllers that just like you have 2 joysticks, you have a pad, you have 4 buttons, you have these other buttons, you have like
sounds like you're playing Flight Simulator.
Well,
yeah. I had to buy me another controller because I miss having the paddles. I was playing Call of Duty Vanguard. Miss having the paddles on the back. So I need to go out. I need to buy me spend another $250 to buy the paddles. Which is weird.
Speaking of buttons and controllers, I mean, PlayStation released their next version of the controller. I don't know if you saw that, Josh. Where now by the analog sticks, there's like 2 more buttons. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it's. Even I'm getting a little
nose or something.
I don't know, man. I don't
know.
No,
this is underneath like a scuff.
I don't know what purpose they're going to serve yet. I'm sure the more hardcore gamers probably already do know. Maybe Josh, you could elaborate on that. But nonetheless, I was like, "Oh, this is interesting."
I mean, they do like the scuff. I'd be 100% for it.
Well, it's supposed to be like how Xbox made their premium controller called the Xbox Elite controller, where it had the paddles on the back and all that stuff.
Right.
It was their answer to countering scuff, and PlayStation is now entering that market, but the design is very weak compared to scuff and Xbox Elite. So, if this is their first design, they need to make a second immediately because the paddles don't look nearly as comfortable. Obviously, I haven't got my hands on it, but at least they're getting to the market to counter scuff because scuff, let's be honest, they were dominating the premium controller space for a long time until Xbox came over. But PlayStation PS5's premium controller is looking like a fail to me.
I'm going to be the noob in the room. What is scuff?
So if you're a competitive gamer for like any kind of shooter or whatever, scuff basically gives you custom triggers so you could shoot quicker, and they give you paddles on the back so you can like bind certain buttons like slide and jump. So instead of taking your finger off the analog stick, you can actually hit more things like a keyboard, I guess. So it allows you to walk and aim, and then give you your middle fingers or whatever other fingers the ability to press buttons as well. So you don't have any kind of delay in your reactions.
Yeah.
So is it like an auto run feature or something?
No. So it just gives you more ways to press certain buttons without taking your thumbs off the analog stick.
Well, like the 4 buttons for an Xbox or PlayStation. You have the
X, triangle, square.
Yeah, they bind to those
pedals.
pedals.
Will be underneath your controller, so you can use your.
So if you push it a certain length, it'll hit one of the buttons or something.
Well, it's already custom.
It's
already custom bind, so most likely it'll be bind to whatever your jump or like crouch button is. Obviously, they'll probably give you a way to customize if you want to do like reload or whatever, switch weapons. But most people do like jump, slide, whatever.
So basically, it's just an option.
Is it able
to do for something
faster without having to take your thumbs off the joysticks?
The people that buy these controllers are more competitive players for shooters.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then to say about the quicker, firing quicker, it just means that you don't have to press the button as far as a normal PlayStation controller. Like it takes you half the distance to press it, right?
They set it to a custom length, so it's just like instead of doing full force, it's just whatever you need, and it's just quick response.
Yeah.
But
I guess I'll have to feel it for myself to kind of get.
But they're getting expensive now. They're like now in the $200+ range.
That's what the PS5 one is going to do too. And like I said, if you look at the design, people are going to buy it because it's a PlayStation controller. But design-wise, it's going to fail compared to Scuff and the Xbox Elite unless they like really learn how to get the paddles right. Because paddles are difficult. There's been there's a a company called Cinch Gaming that never got the paddles right, and they were actually in the market before Scuff, and they failed because the paddles are a big deal for people, especially in the competitive scene. If they're not in the right spot and they're not comfortable and they're not easy to use, it'll deter people from buying it.
Now the question is, okay, you buy the PlayStation for $400, but you got to buy a controller for $250. That's just kind of like, to me, it's like I'd rather just play with the regular PlayStation controller then, because I can get another PlayStation for that much money, you know?
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point, though. It's an option accessory. It's not like it's mandatory.
But it's like, okay, but are you really getting $250 worth of material?
Probably not.
You know, and then on top of that,
and then that's not even probably. I mean, that's a factual. No, you're not.
I can make Scuff an extra millions of dollars by one. Okay, this is my idea. So this is like a bookmark. Like say, hey, I thought of it first. And actually, I thought about it a long time ago. But it's like, okay, when you get a controller, and then all you three or the other three, can agree with me. Like everybody's hands are a different size.
Correct.
Okay, what Scuff needs to do is come out with different size controllers, and basically 3 different sizes. So you have the one that we have now, that's one. You have one that's smaller, made for more like kids' size hands, and then you have a bigger one that's made more for like basketball players' size hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can have the 3. Like the basketball one is easy because it's going to be a bigger frame.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got a lot more room to put everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like the kids that it's gonna be smaller. It's gonna be a little bit harder to put everything in the kids. They might have to multi-layer it or something. I don't know.
The Joy-Cons are like the best size for controllers for kids from Nintendo.
Like it's just like make it like quarter size smaller than what the original is. But it's like you think about it, it's like maybe like the kids would be less material, but the bigger one would be more material. But it kind of like evens out to a normal material. So basically, they're not going to lose any money on material. They just need to have 3 different molds to build each one. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
sure.
You customize it. Why not customize the size of the controller?
I mean that when Josh was explaining, I mean that thought literally just passed him. Well, why hasn't that been done? Like, kind of blows my mind a little bit. But I don't know. I mean, once again, like I always kind of go back into some sort of business set of mind. Like they probably have very smart people within the company doing cost analysis. It's like, okay, where are we looking for our profits to having to make this model? Is it worth it? How much are we projected to sell?
Right. I think
how many parents are going to buy a $200, to your point, $250 controller for their kid, even if their kid is really fucking good? I mean, maybe if they identify that, but that would have to take like probably another gamer parent to identify their child as a prodigy video game player or something that matters.
Right.
More times than not, a parent is not going to buy that for their kid. Now,
you would be surprised. There's a lot of people that would buy them. Those controllers.
You guys like me who has small hands.
I'm not saying that they won't get purchased. I'm just saying from a cost analysis standpoint, it's not worth the juice. The juice isn't worth the squeeze.
You probably argue that 75% of everybody has hands that would fit this. Okay.
No, exactly.
It's like, do they from the extra the other 25% who still use that controller, whether it's too big for them or too small for them, they can still use it. Like I would guess that the seller margin is just not enough. Like they wouldn't be able to make it.
They definitely wouldn't make enough making these custom controllers. Like Xbox has made special controllers for people that have disabilities, like one arm. People that can't use it.
But I mean that's another thing too. It's like with big guys who are basketball players should have an option to pay an extra $50 to get a larger controller.
I agree.
I'm sure they would pay the extra $50 because it feels more comfortable.
They would because it wouldn't cost them anything.
Well, for example, like if you look at the evolution of like PS3 controllers versus PS5 controllers. Like, look at the size difference. Like, you could tell from the grips and, like, the buttons and spacing. Like, when I played this, my hand would devour this controller, and I would hit 2 buttons at once because, they're so close together. But now these size controllers are better because they're more space, it's bigger, and it just has a better grip to them. So you're right. Different size controllers would be a good thing. Would it be profitable? No, but I think there should probably be, like, an option on the online store to buy it, but of course, if you do customize the width, height, and all that stuff, it would probably cost you a little more than your stock controllers.
Say that you start the business from scratch. like Scuff did. Okay, they just made the same controller as basically Xbox and PlayStation has, the frame, the molding, but the insides they just changed out and at the paddles. But it's like if you had a brand new company, they could just make moldings for all three real quick. It wouldn't really cost them any extra money. They just have 3 different molds.
Well, it would cost them money in the motherboard, or I think it's called the motherboard, or whatever the chipboard department is, because there is chips in your controller to get input.
Yeah, but like the bigger ones shouldn't take any extra. That doesn't matter. The bigger one doesn't matter. The
It would, because they would have to.
It would, because if the frame itself is bigger, then the motherboard would be bigger to put the buttons through.
Yeah, the chipset would have to be bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be.
It would be
hard to do it.
It wouldn't be hard, but it'd be expensive.
The hard part for me would be making it small enough to put it into a smaller controller, because I'm not sure you can do it.
Oh, you can like look at Nintendo, for example. The Joy-Cons are tiny. Like,
yeah,
they can do it.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, again, it's a million. I mean, we can start our own company right now.
Yeah, we just have to get licensings from these, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation to use their controller.
I would probably gamble that they're probably, if there's not an actual company there's probably just like entrepreneurs that do it per, like, just by an email, like, hey, I need this. They'll do it. Like, 3D print machines and all that shit out there. Believe me, there's people out there that are doing this already.
Yeah, there's even with like the retro community, like people are still modding like N64 controllers, SNES controllers, and they're adjusting sizes, grips, and buttons, for people nowadays. So like there's definitely a modding community. If there's a business, that's yet to be seen, but I think there's like a whole bunch of licensing issues, because you have to get the rights from PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo to use their chipset or make your own chipset, which is even harder.
That kind of like contradicts each other, because you're telling me that PlayStation wants to compete against Scuff, but yet PlayStation gives Scuff the rights to make a Scuff controller? That doesn't make sense.
Well, they also get paid for those rights.
They could be getting paid a lot more.
Yeah, I think it's more of like they get basically free money, and Scuff has to, 1, pay them the rights, 2, pay for the royalties, and also the items itself, like the chipset, the molding for the controller, and all that stuff. So it's like they're not making that much profit compared to how much controllers actually cost. But I like your idea. I'm not downing it. I like it, but it's also more complicated than it is.
Right, it's like this is the reason why people like to have people with different points of views, because you don't see it. You see it your way. You don't see it from different, aspects. And it's like that's what makes the company better, because it's like you always want that, again, like you said, the devil's advocate, Steve. It's like that's the kind of people you want, because you want to know, hey, when Steve tells me that, I want to have an answer why, to say you're wrong. This is,
And then it also helps you reassure yourself, like if you're right, you gotta basically iron out your points on why you're right, like build onto it and see how it would work compared to how it won't work, and then that's how ideas get more polished, by having or I don't know if you want to say like a debate with it, because it basically just fleshes things out, makes it more smooth and polished, and things get done better that way.
I think they like kind of just how Josh laid it out. I think the option should be there, right? Like you just don't mass produce it; you just make it on a customary level. Just look at, I don't know if this is really a great apples to apples comparison here, but let's look at keyboards, for example.
Right.
60%, 65%, 100%, 125% keyboards.
So it's kind of like that approach. Like you're not going to mass produce it to ship it to Walmarts and Targets and all that crap, but on your official store, hey, look, we have these options. Look at Nintendo's online service, for example, which is very shit. But you have like the original NES controllers, Super NES, even I think the 64s now too. Don't quote me on that. I think there is though. But you could buy those on their online store. They sell it in, I don't even think GameStop even sells those. So the options should be made available, but I don't know. Maybe we'll still see it.
Yeah, they had if you talk about the Super Nintendo, they had one that it was like the arcade controller. I think it was called something like Turbo controller, turbo controller, or something like that. And it was just like you had the joystick, you had the big buttons, and everything like that. Oh, dude, it was.
Dude, they still have turbo controllers now.
Yeah.
They still have turbo controllers now.
Oh, I know, but I'm not sure.
But back then in the day, that was like an old thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know my cousin-in-law, he has the dual joystick controller, so it's like 2-player, but it has like 5,000 games on it.
Oh, geez.
But it's actually like a arcade. It's like just basically the arcade controllers with no screen and no base. It's just the actual controller. So it's awesome, like be able to play like any game. But you can go play like regular Zelda back from the regular NES.
So what you're saying is that he's a criminal and he has emulations on his device.
He paid for it, and it's legal.
Well,
so it's like buying
he paid someone else to do the illegal deed.
No, it's like $300 to do it, to get the whole thing.
To Matt's defense, there are devices out there that have legal emulations. Like, I'm not sure if it's called Raspberry. I'm not sure if he has Raspberry Pi, but there's a device out there called Raspberry Pi, and they emulate from SNES all the way to like the PS3 era games. Like it branches so far in how many games you can emulate on that.
Most of these are like 8-bit, 16-bit games. These are not a lot. They probably did have some of the newer stuff, but a lot of it's like the old stuff that nobody buys anymore. It's just kind of like
and the licensing's already over too, so it's able to be emulated.
But I mean, Zelda always owned Zelda, so it's because they can still have adventures or they have Zelda games. I think still, right?
Tell him to DM me and where you got that from, because I need that.
What was that?
I said
you want to know what it is?
Yeah, because I've been looking for like an emulation device, just for like this. Like I collect physical games. Like recently this year I've been collecting more video games. But dude, they get expensive, and if I can like find a way to play games I want emulated, and then wait until the game I want in store is cheaper, then I'll play emulated, then cheaper store, buy it and own in my collection. But while you're looking
to go to Kansas City.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, they go to Kansas City.
Can Kansas City ship to me?
Huh?
Can Kansas City ship to me?
I don't know. They might have. They have a store. I could probably find out what the store name was, but they had like. I mean, they had Atari games you could buy.
Dude, I've seen emulations that run Commodore games really well.
Yeah, these were no emulations. They were actual games. Like you can buy anywhere from Atari to NES to.
Oh, so it's a retro game store.
So
yeah, like it had
Action
like
Replay?
everything. Huh?
The Action Replay store?
Action Replay is a cheap.
Huh? It's a type of store that they have out here. I don't know if they have them out.
Wait,
it's kind of like a mini franchisee, but
we have a store called Action Replay out here?
Yeah, it's a bunch of them.
I go to Back in the Game. That's where they have like all the retro games.
No, I think there's one in Orland Park off LaGrange. We'll connect later about that.
Okay, because I want more retro game stores, because so far it's just Back in the Game for me.
We both could go. We'll take a trip together. A good old-fashioned podcast date.
So, while Matt's looking that up, I want to talk about my games, because obviously, I was looking at Gamescom. I'll probably buy these games when they're on sale. There's only one game here that I know I've actually pre-ordered. But the games that caught my interest during Gamescom, which Matt might actually like because this is in his realm too, is Dune Awakening. If you've seen the movie Doom, or you're at the movie Dune, this is a game about that series. It's an open world, I believe, RPG. I don't know if it's like an MMO game. So far, I think it's just open world RPG. It looks really cool. I like sci-fi games like that. I know, Steve, you said there's a lot of horror-looking games, and yes, there is. The only horror-looking game that I liked was Callisto Protocol, and that's only because I like Dead Space, and the people that made Callisto Protocol also made Dead Space. They're just in a new studio now because they branched away from EA. Lords of the Fallen, even though we've made fun of it, I'm looking forward to that game too. Hogwarts Legacy is the one game I actually pre-ordered because I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter. Anything fantasy like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, whatever, I'm just a fan of. So Hogwarts Legacy looks good. I'm a little worried with certain content that they're trying to promote because it seems like it's just more of a money grab, but the gameplay looks cool, and obviously Destiny Lightfall. That's coming out. They showed that. I thought it looked amazing. I was very happy about that. Liza P, which you might actually like, Steve, because the whole story of Liza P is pretty much Pinocchio, but a little darker. So there's pretty much Geppetto. I'm not sure if they're calling him Geppetto, but there's this guy that made this atomic boy that thinks he's real. And this atomic person is fighting these creatures. He has like an arm that turns into weapons and all that stuff. Pretty much like a Demon Souls hack and slash game. And it looks cool to me.
I saw that one. It was like that steampunk type game. It looked, once again, it just fit that mold of all the other to me. I mean, yes, it's different type of fantasy, but it's just that action type of game to me. Like they almost seem so cookie cutter to me.
In a way, I mean, that's pretty much all games, though. If you really look at things.
Well, you're not entirely wrong, but like, I don't know, like unless it's like something like, and I've never played these, but I know they're widely adored. But like you got like The Last of Us of the Worlds and Uncharted and shit, I'm thinking of God of War. Like those, to my point, are also sort of cookie cutter, but like the story is what made it to be what they are, right? So that's not to say like all the games that were shown can't, transcend and become those widely popular games, but I'm just saying that just comparing them by trailer releases, they look very cookie cutter, and I don't really know what.
But I also think that you're mistaking cookie cutter with franchises, because like you're saying that they're not they're trying to be like God of War. God of War, Last of Us, they're franchises. Liza P, I think it wants to be like a standalone one-off
franchises game. When they were first introduced as world first and brand new IPs, no, they were not. They became franchises because they were adored. And that's what I'm saying with these new games, because all the games that they released are pretty much new IPs for the most part, right?
Well, some of these, there's a lot of these developing. I'm not saying you're wrong, because there are, Callisto Protocol probably wants to turn itself back into a franchise like Dead Space. Mm-hmm. But there's certain games that, like Lords of the Fallen, it's probably going to be a
one-stop shop. One-hitter quitter. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Uh-oh.
No, I think he is.
Sorry, I heard, yeah, my brother knocked on the door. I wanted to make sure. Yeah. But like,
like, leave me alone, I am jerking off.
But like Lords of the Fallen is probably going to be a one-off game. If they make another game, it'll be completely different than that. Liza P will also probably be a one-off game. There's certain games that they're not looking to be a franchise; they're just looking to be a one and done and move on. And then same thing with like the last game on my list that looked interesting. And this might not be everybody's cup of tea, but the reason why I'm interested in it is it's a game called High on Life. It's made by the people that made Rick and Morty. I love their humor, but the reason why I like the gameplay is it kind of reminds me of a blend of Dishonored meets Borderlands, and I'm a fan of that kind of gameplay.
I felt like the show stealer for me was Goat Simulator.
Were you really into that?
No, I'm not into that. But I'm just saying, like, it is extremely stupid that it's like I probably could have a couple glasses of whiskey and enjoy playing this game. It's so stupid.
But I think that's like the whole point of it. It's supposed to be a sandbox game. There's no story. It's just pure destruction and chaos at its finest.
Just pure chaos and just laugh your ass off. So I thought that shit was pretty funny. It's the number 3, so obviously it's somewhat successful.
Oh, dude, it's very successful. People love Goat Simulator. There's been branch off series like I might be getting it wrong, but it's like something with like the duck is loose or whatever. Like there's multiple different games.
That's from them. Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if it's from them, but I know there's games like that from them. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fan of their. I'm not gonna say I'm a fan, but I haven't really played their games. Yeah, but I know they've made different, branch offs like that.
So I like I did, and you concurred with what I said. There was a lot of like type-ish hit games, but there was one that actually was a little intriguing. I don't remember the name of it. I didn't take notes like you did, so I should have done that. But there was one that really was intriguing because it was really big mindfuck, because it was like, I think you were like a prisoner or something, and they did a lot of like experiments on you, or they're really trying to get your like pain threshold, or at least your mental threshold. And that looked very interesting to me, but I couldn't remember the name of it.
I can't remember the name of it too, but I've seen that. And then also because of your pain threshold, you start seeing things psychologically. It's almost like Outlast, where it's like a lot of things you see might be real, or they might not be real, or your brain could start morphing reality into something more horrific.
Like hallucination, yeah, exactly. That I thought looked interesting, but all the other stuff, I was like, meh.
But they're also not your genre too, because I know you're more like the linear story RPGs, like Square Enix and all that.
I know you're into it. I don't know if Badger is, but like
he's the one to
call
it.
Well, that's what I'm tying it in, because like all those games, they reach a certain point. It's like, well, we reached the end of what we could do. Let's throw in fucking zombies. It's like, really? Like, that's all you got? Like that? Like, I'm just so
Call of Duty did
with that narrative.
It's not okay.
No, I understand that, but like, that's the pattern that I see, especially even with these new games. It's like, I mean, hell, if it's selling, obviously the model is working. But I'm just saying that for me personally, it's just like. It's almost like movies getting re-released because they can't think of new custom movie ideas, right? It's like,
have you guys seen it on Facebook? There's actually, I think I saved it, that the new Top Gun movie, Maverick, is the same thing as Star Wars.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
And it actually, like, they show like the picture, like, okay, the Star Wars, and then
are they talking about shooting the missile into the ground, like the Death Star?
That was one of them. It was like a 2-meter wide thing, and you actually see on Maverick is like
I'm sorry, go finish.
Okay, and then like the bad guy is all dressed in the black, flying the jet, where Darth Vader's all black in a black outfit and stuff, and then it's like then you see like the Luke Skywalker in a fighter jet, and then you see the guy in Maverick in the F-16 or F-18, whatever he's flying, like doing the same thing and saying the same thing. And there's something else, but it's just like, you watch the movie, you don't think that, but then again, it's like
everything can draw comparisons to each other. Like Harry Potter, Star Wars, and all that stuff take inspiration from World War II. Like obviously, the Empire is, I can't say their name because it would get us banned, but
I'm not sure if we can see that.
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah.
Like they even had you have to go through the canyon in order to plant, to do the bomb. Where same thing with Star Wars. You have to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. I for a second I thought you were gonna say that like frame by frame, they have the similar or the exact same shots and what else?
No, just similar concepts.
Same kind of plot.
Yeah, same kind of thing. But to that point, I mean, that actually does happen a lot in Hollywood, because they do reuse certain effects or certain shots, because there is a huge cost savings element to doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of no surprise.
Well,
but
look at all the stories that branched off of World War II. Like how many movies and shows, like big movies and shows that have made this empire, the Germans are evil, they don't like people, it's just them and ultimate power. Multiple things like that. And then you got the rebellion, which is the alliance. There's so many movies that have came from World War II that are big.
Greatest TV show, Band of Brothers.
Band of Brothers, Pacific. But I'm talking about fantasy stuff, like Harry Potter, for example. Voldemort and his followers, they would be the Germans. Hogwarts would be the Alliance. Star Wars, best comparison, the Empire is the Germans, and then the rebels are the Alliance. You could tell where they're going.
There's a bad guy and there's always a good guy. That's just how it is with.
No, but they always got their armies, and they got the generals, and they got their supreme leader, which is obviously for
Star Wars,
the H guy. I'm not gonna say his name because there's certain things that you can't say on YouTube and Twitch because they'll block you out. So I'm being very vague on that. But
I knew what you want to say. I'll say. No, I'm just playing.
Hey, real quick, Josh, look at that. Look at Discord.
Look at Discord. Oh my God, it's a picture of your feet.
Yeah.
Here. Oh, let me look.
Yeah, I would cringe too if I looked at my own feet. Okay, so.
Is that your big show?
Huh?
Did you send this to me?
You can actually click on it, but it even has like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo on it. It has, other fun games. Marvel versus Capcom.
Home arcade machine game system. That's actually really cool.
So I'm not sure if that's the exact one he has, but it's pretty close.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to have to look more into that off topic or off stream. But I guess we can move on because it seems like we've talked about all the games. This one... So, as we were talking about PlayStation multiple times in our podcast, in multiple episodes, I brought up some things that I've eventually jinxed or I've become a forecaster for drama. So, I predicted in episode 2 that, I was talking about the whole Black Panther recast, and eventually on Twitter, the next episode, it, blew up on social media and people calling for it and all that stuff. And then
Black Panther 2.
Last episode, I was talking about Andrew Tate and people owning search algorithms. And this week, he was banned on all social media platforms. So it's so this Andrew Tate guy, pretty much he's just, how like there's females that promote, higher standards, what they want in a guy. Andrew Tate's pretty much like the male version of like what males need to do to look for a girl and how they should act instead. Basically his ideology is like, men should be strong, women should be in like the kitchen and doing certain roles.
Yeah, so up until 24 hours ago, when the topic was pitched, I had no idea.
Your mic cut out again.
Yeah, I think it's come out because there's a lot of us on here. But anyway, 24 hours ago, I had no idea who the fuck this guy was. So of course, doing my homework, quickly found out who he was last night. And watched a little bit about him. So, like, to Badger's question, like, he's considered the quote-unquote ultimate alpha male or some shit.
I didn't say that. Josh said that. Don't even...
No, I'm just telling you what people online are dubbing him as, or he dubs himself as, because he's like, I think, for the most part, when I first started watching him, he's the ultimate douchebag. But and to some regard, he probably still is. But then I was watching some footage, some videos, and this might come off very negative. But then it's like, well,
he's not all wrong.
He's not all wrong. but like to Josh's point, his ideologies are so extreme that's why he. Say he is wrong, but why he's not accepted.
Any kind of topic like that, if you base your channel on something like that. It is very, very, especially nowadays, very touchy situation.
Yes, 100%.
And you will get banned eventually because there's something that people. I mean, you see what was it on the Mandalorian, wasn't it? Where the girl
Gina Carano.
Yeah, she had her opinion about something. I don't even know, but she ended up getting kicked off the Disney show Mandalorian because of what she said on a stream or something like that. Like her logic behind something, I forgot what it was, but it's like, it is negatively viewed by a lot of people and made her look bad enough to where Disney kicked her off the show.
Unfortunately, it's not negative, in my opinion.
Sorry, majority opinion of the
viewership or whatever the community outcry community is.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's a majority opinion. It's the loud minority.
Yeah.
And it's all cancel culture. It's man. I mean, we could get so off topic, and we could really talk ad nauseum. But it is a disease to some regard, and it's a social disease. It's kind of scary. It's very scary.
Like Johnny Depp is like the highlight example of this year of what people can think, even if it's completely false.
Yeah.
Like
go
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go finish. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, like the loud minority can eventually start brainwashing people because the more you hear things, you're like, oh, that might be true when there's really no facts. Because people a lot of times take word of mouth and they just believe it as gospel instead of doing research themselves. Because let's be honest, sometimes we get lazy and we just accept things for what we hear.
Internet never lies.
But like Johnny Depp was like crucified for something he didn't do, and he ended up being the victim. I was always on his side because the evidence didn't match up, and then it turns out the female was the evil bad guy in this. Yeah, the aggressor.
Like it's unfortunate that I feel like it's entirely flipped, and it's no longer innocent guilty. It's you're guilty until you're proven innocent, and even then, you're so damaged where you could possibly never recover.
Oh yeah, there's been allegations on many people that even if you're completely proven innocent, people will have this lingering thought in their head of he could do it later.
Yeah, and like going back to the Johnny Depp thing, like I wholeheartedly applaud him because I said what he did is exactly what men need to do, and I'm not just saying it's only affecting men, but like yeah, exactly. Is that like if you have defamation against you, you countersue immediately.
Actually,
especially if you're in the right.
Well, Johnny Depp, he actually, as a real victim, he wasn't going to speak out. It was because he had really good friends to support him that helped him speak out.
True, 100%. You're not. Yeah, you're right. He initially was not going to, so he kind of had to get pushed into it. But hopefully that opens a door for others. What hopefully comes from it, because I always said that. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to happen to be a celebrity. It could happen to any man. It could happen to any woman. Well, if you are wrongfully accused, you fucking countersue immediately, and see how fast they fucking pull back and retract their statements. Maybe not all of them,
or they change their story many times. Yeah,
except the crazy one. Then very quickly they're the ones that are fucking crazy. Yeah. But you'll see the ones once you put your foot down and you try to go back at them, like whoa, they'll pull their horses back.
So I don't know if you saw the news, and this is older. This is probably a little old for you guys, but there is a boxer named George Foreman. The grill.
Yeah.
He's like 70 years old now, and they said there's like 2 women who said that back in 1970 he raped me. Mm-hmm. And they're now coming forward and like saying it is stupid. I mean, okay, you talk about 50 years later, one thing, and whatnot, but it's still one of those things like people are trying to, whether it's
get fame in any kind of way.
Like get a check.
What I mean, it's gonna make him look bad. Like same thing with Johnny Depp, and Amber Heard.
Yeah. Amber Turd.
Yeah, she ruined his career.
I don't think it is ruined. She could have. I don't think it is ruined though.
Well,
he's never gonna be able to play Jack Sparrow again.
Well,
he lost that.
That changed.
Well, yeah, he can play Jack Sparrow, but because Johnny Depp is so disgusted with how they treated him, he said he wouldn't return.
Yeah, so they did want him back.
He loved that.
Well, he loved it, but because Disney did him so wrong, same thing with Warner Brothers, he said, even if they want me back, I'm not coming back. And Disney's offered him...
I don't know what they did wrong with him.
They fired him.
Yeah, because of... Oh, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because of the initial allegations. But now that he came out clean, and we can still put that in quotes, but he won, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, you're good. Hey, why don't you come back? And he flipped the bird, and fucking I applaud that even more.
I do too.
But see, that's again, Amber Heard ruined him.
Yeah.
Because if the allegation never happened, the false allegation never happened, he would still be in that role.
Oh, 100%.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he'd be making millions and millions of dollars.
But the moral of the story is his reputation isn't ruined because he still can go and continue and make millions.
I think what Matt is saying is that because of this, even though he said no out of personal pride, which is a good thing that we both applaud, he is losing big movie deals because of this.
And that, yes, ultimately, yes, that is
so
correct.
I think that's where somebody's like, losing Pirates is a big deal. Losing Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts is a big deal. So that does hurt him.
Yeah. Another thing too is like if you think about it, I mean, again, if this never happened, he would still be doing the Jack Sparrow. Mm-hmm. And if you know Johnny Depp, other than like Edward Scissorhands maybe or stuff like that, he's never really made big movies. Like at least like
he's made some big movies. Blow. What's that one?
You watch your mouth there.
Okay, not as big as.
Oh yeah, Pirates was huge.
Pirates of the Caribbean. It depends on what you call big.
But then also you have other movies like The Sixth Gate. I mean, obviously, not, like you said, not big as Pirates, but he's got some really good roles under his belt.
Obviously, he's a famous person for a reason. And not just because of... Like, again, I know him because of Edward Scissorhands back in the day when that movie came out.
And that's the one thing I love is that Tim Burton stayed by his side the whole entire time. Like, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton are still going to work together, and they even have future projects planned.
I can't wait.
I thought they were supposed to do a sequel to Edward Scissorhands.
I think they're going to. I think they're working on it now.
Yeah.
Where he has real hands out.
But kind of backtracking a little bit.
Predictions.
No, well, to entertain and then back to predictions is there's a huge double standard in the way people view things. Like, for example, Andrew Tate, if you like him, if you hate him, whatever, that's up to you. I don't care. But him being banned, I looked into his band, and they're not very clear. If you look into Andrew Tate, there's a lot of allegations against him. I'm not going to say on stream, but there's a lot of allegations not proven yet, and some of he's even been cleared innocent on. But people are obviously still saying he's, so-and-so things, and that's why they banned him. But I think it's because he's promoting a different ideology that's it's kind of going against the grain of today's social standards. Like, for example, there's females out there that are preaching the same exact thing for females, but they're not getting banned, they're getting promoted. Like, for example, Cardi B did very questionable things and actually, drugged and sexually assaulted a guy, and no slap on the wrist. But Andrew Tate, on the other hand, allegations, they want to cancel him. And, well, to a certain point, they really did.
And he actually wants to go back to 1950s, 1960s, where, again, I think this is also it's a turnaround.
I also think he's trolling a lot too. I think he's really. I think Andrew Tate's really messing with a lot of people. I think half the stuff he preaches, he doesn't really believe. I think he says it.
Oh, 100%. He is totally taking advantage of stupid people, just like women are taking advantage of stupid people on stream. So
like Kardashians is like the best example.
Exactly. So to your point, yes, I agree with that. But going back to like how Badger, you said 1950s, 60s, I mean, his ideologies actually go way back like that, because he's quoting the Bible and all this other stuff. Now, once again, with his things that he's quoting, he's not wrong. He's giving, dare I say, factual information, because I'm not going to get into the Bible right now, but he's giving concrete evidence. But that doesn't mean that as a society we've evolved, and that we're forward thinking. That's not going to fly anymore. And then to Josh's point, that's why he's getting canceled. It's almost to the point where I don't know if they're scared of him. Like,
I think I think they're scared because he can turn the tide on male ideology, because the whole thing in the last 10 years has been feminist positive, and obviously I'm for equality. Guys and girls get paid the same if they do the same job, whatever. But there also should be a recognition that there is biological differences in both of us. That guys will do certain things better than girls, and girls will do certain things better than guys. So that should be a fact. If you like it or not, that's a fact.
It is. And those are things that he also says, which is to the point where I agree with some of the stuff, because they are facts. Like, there's no and if buts about that. Now, is that a cold hard fact that across the board all men are automatically stronger than women? No.
Obviously, there's exceptions, like Ronda Rousey, for example.
Exactly. There are probably hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of women that will fuck me up.
Oh, what? Gina Carraro, Gina Carraro, Ronda Rousey. I forgot what the recent girl was.
Any MMA woman fighter will probably jack me up.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is, generally speaking, in a strength perspective, men are going to be stronger. Now, if a woman is trained,
she could probably even the skills for an average person.
Exactly.
Or you can be like me. I'm just the opposite. I'm a guy who's broken, like completely broken. Okay, and pretty much, any woman could probably.
A hamster could take you on.
Yeah, my dog. I mean, he jumps in my lap. I'm out for a month. I'm kidding, but sort of. But it's it can. But I think what's going to come down to is that people are not. It's not going to be a boy or a girl. It's going to be a person, and then that person, they want to be limitless, meaning that they don't want any limitations of what they can or cannot do. If a person decides that they want to be the opposite sex, or they want to be known as something, okay, they want to have that right. That's it. It's just going to be limitless. You can call yourself Darth Vader for all I care. Okay, if that's what you want, you can have it. And if they want to be in the military, to where they want to stay home and clean house all day, it doesn't matter what they want to do. They should be allowed to do it. It's limitless. I
feel like for the most part, I mean, we are kind of there already. I mean, it's just that to that same line of thought. I mean, there is no such thing as limitless because everybody has some sort of ceiling.
Mm.
But then again, you're saying no to a little girl who wants to be a ballerina. Oh, you can't be a ballerina.
That's a realistic.
That's a real, yeah.
I'm saying like I can't go and compete in the world. Expect to win. Like there's unrealistic things, so you can't be limitless.
I need a narrator for you.
But you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not gonna
keep cutting out that much.
Stop trying to be a. If you really wanted to be a world class, track star, okay.
You can train, but we can go down like a deeper rabbit hole. Like obviously, to your point, you said if you want to be like a professional athletic, train as hard as you can, and you could probably reach that level. But then obviously, there's also the genetic part where certain humans are born differently, and some people have natural gifts, and they'll excel more than people that train their hardest, whatever. But yeah, like to wrap this up because I don't want to go too far down the political rabbit hole.
Sorry, that's probably my fault.
Some people will see. No, I brought this up. We just expanded on it, but I think with this culture and how these influencers are doing this, I think there's a battle between what you want to be and versus reality. Like I think there should be like a blend of, we should accept science and facts for the way they are, but if you want to be so and so, we should be allowed to accept that, but also not bend the rules and say this is factual. You know what I mean? Like, let's say people that want to identify as like a guy or girl, that's okay. You want to do that, sure, but we also shouldn't ignore the fact that biologically speaking, this is what you are. You know what I mean?
But nowadays, if you saw the news, men are able to have babies now.
Well, so are male seahorses.
I forgot. Some guy in the White House or something like that was like.
Yeah, I've seen loads of that, but
it's stupid. It's like they're reaching too far.
But going back to what this was originally about is that for some reason every time I bring up a topic, especially when it's almost I guess at this point hot topics, they start trying the next day. What's going to be the next drama forecast for next episode? Because I see that. I'm not sure if you guys, stay on social media or keep up on Twitch or whatever, but obviously this is a current thing. I can't predict this, but it seems like Twitch, my prediction is that Twitch is going to have a crackdown on a lot of revealing and sexually explicit content on their platform, because recently there was a streamer banned for having sex on their stream because they were doing whatever. I don't know if they thought they're being smart about this, but the camera's pointing out a window, and you can pretty much see the reflection of everything that was going on.
I'm old. I still couldn't see the reflection. I was trying.
I thought that was a mirror, not a window.
It wasn't a mirror. I think it was a window, but I could be.
It was a window.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a window.
But it's like I don't know what the thought process was for that. She got banned, rightfully so, because Twitch is not a platform for that. If you want to go to a place like,
if you look at her face too, it's like, why are you making that face? It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then you see the guy in the background headbutting her back.
Yeah, it's like,
even without the reflection, I mean, you saw the dude. Like, it wasn't like they were trying to really hide it.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what her thought process was, but then also there's been more streamers out there, well, specifically female streamers, that are also getting banned for having very revealing clothing, like on their breasts they would put like I don't know if it's like tape or whatever it's called, pasties, and very like see-through clothing, and then they got banned. But hers is also controversial because even though her outfit was very revealing and I don't think it's appropriate for Twitch, there's guys that don't have shirts. Obviously, breasts, female breasts are more considered, I guess, private parts, sexualized compared to male breasts, but realistically they're about the same. But then there's also a whole section on Twitch called the hot tub section, and there's a bunch of people wearing like very revealing bathing suits. So I'm like, what's the difference between her and these hot tub streamers? It's like, where's the line, and are they going to ban them all?
It's the way she was categorized. I think that's really.
I'm gonna assume that you said boils down to
with having sex on a hot tub stream, but Twitch has those guidelines and has those policies where the hot tub stuff is far more lenient than our podcast talk shows, categorize, right?
Yeah.
I thought they were also going to implement like a whatever 18 overtime thing. I guess that never came to fruition.
I hope it doesn't, because that should stay on P-Hub and not on Twitch. But service is a service.
I just remember them talking about it.
I mean, with the hot tub streams, that's pretty much what it is. It's the 18 plus.
No, 100%. Well, yeah, kind of 100%. Although I should say no, because I don't really go to them. It'll pique my interest for like 10 seconds, but then this may sound very odd, but it makes me sick.
I don't watch it at all.
Again, here's the devil advocate part. Okay, like you were talking about the business side of things.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very profitable.
Extremely smart.
How much money
they make a lot of money.
It's not even money.
All donations or whatever.
I've said this before, and we haven't had the benefit. Not to go far down the rabbit hole, the women that are, I will say it as such, exploiting this are fucking smart, and I applaud them.
Yeah, you can't even hate them, because it's a business tactic, and it's useful. They make money. It's like we can't hate.
Like they might not like this comparison, but they are in a safe environment, but they're doing everything a stripper would do at a strip club, and have no recourse unless someone finds their address and tries to go there themselves.
Yes.
That's the only downfall for them. Otherwise, they get to do everything and make probably even more money than them in the comfort of their own home, and it is something to applaud. What makes me sick
is that you can't do it.
Huh?
Is that you can't do it.
Well,
sure
that's not entirely true either, probably. But I can't do it on Twitch. But what I want to say is like is the guys that grovel to them and just throw their money away.
You're not gonna. That's their audience. They're not gonna. You'll never switch them.
I understand that. I'm just saying, but that's the part that makes me sick. It's just like, God.
There's an audience that does.
I will play a little bit of devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were just talking about the Tate guy or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, women do not want to be treated like a certain way,
and then they promote it. Yeah,
that's exactly what Andrew Tate says, though, and that's why I said like I agree with some of the things he said.
You can't do that. If you want to be treated with respect, you do not do that. Okay, if you want the people to stop looking at you as a sex object, you don't do it.
Well, not only that, have you seen the recent TikTok trend that a lot of females are doing? They are basically, so one's on the ground pretending they're a dog and the other one's leashing them. I'm like, you're basically saying you're a female dog. Like, I'm not gonna say it, for censorship reasons, but a B word. And I'm like,
I don't think you get censored for the B word.
Well, I'm not sure about you two. I'm being considered for that in Apple Podcasts and all stuff. You can curse. I'm just saying it for my own reasons, so I don't have to edit it out later.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I'm like, you don't want to be called that, but yet you're basically doing what that would do.
But Josh, it was just a joke.
And I'm like,
it's just a joke.
I'm like, no, you act like that, you get called that. It's just it's the way it is.
No, it is. I mean, if the shoe fits, wear it. Right? Is that the old?
Yeah, you act like that. Don't get insulted when somebody calls you out on it.
Yeah, but then they go into the whole like, well, then you're saying if I wear a schoolgirl outfit and a skirt, then it's okay. I get raped. Like, no, that's not what we're saying. Of course not. But like,
they would always go to the extremes on that.
Exactly. I mean, it's just crazy.
But to reel it back a little bit, because you made a fantastic point, Steve, about how. A lot of these females are taking advantage of this current situation.
Oh, they don't like being called females too, by the way.
I'm saying females because, some people hate being called girls or women or whatever. So I'm trying to be as vague as possible. But there's a lot of adult entertainers moving to Twitch because they realize they can do less work and get paid more.
And I don't blame them.
I don't blame them either. I think it's smart.
But here's I shouldn't say the worst part, but here's the more. Which makes them even smarter. They could still double dip or even triple dip.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They can make a shit ton of. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, oh god.
We need to learn as guys. We need to learn how to capitalize on this.
I'm gonna stay off the soapbox.
As guys, we need to learn how to capitalize and take advantage of this too. What do we have to offer? Our feet.
Well. I mean, I don't want to get off. I'm not going to get off.
Do it.
You know, like, hey, come punch me, or I'll break a bone. You know, and then y'all abuse.
Okay, Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
He wants to get abused over here. He wants a dominatrix.
I'm the human Mr. Glass. I'm the actually real thing.
The reason why it doesn't happen for men that often, because men can do it, but men tend to be more homophobic. If a man does exactly what the woman is going to do, their clientele are more likely to be gay men, not women.
This is very true.
So this is why men don't do it as often. There are very successful men that get paid that much money because their clientele are gay men and they don't care, and that's fucking fantastic.
You have a man and a woman together at the same time.
Well, I mean, you could probably go that route too, but no, I mean, this is where I was going to follow the rails because I sincerely thought about it. It's like, maybe I should get OnlyFans. I don't want to get too graphic, but let's get an OnlyFans and try this out. But that's the reality. That is why it's not common for men to do it, because their clientele are going to be more likely gay men, and a lot of men are homophobic. It is what it is.
This is very true.
But if you care about your views and you care about your money, you have to be okay with it.
Yeah,
and those are the ones that are successful.
It's basically like a shame point. Like, how far are you willing to go for money?
These girls who are in the hot tub, whatever thing, I'm sure they get inappropriate remarks all the time. You know,
they don't care. There is a no shame factor.
Yeah, it's like you just have to not care. You just have to do whatever, you know.
And that's fine. But
then I think I told Josh this before. You know, I sorry, it wasn't Josh. I think it was. I was thinking of another YouTuber.
You're cheating on me.
I watch. Yeah, you know, I don't even watch Twitch that much anymore, or YouTube. But anyways, it's you know, it's one of those things. Like, the guy says, I just don't like playing that game anymore. But his views went from, say, like 1,000 views to 100 views, all because he didn't care on playing that game. Now it's like, do you care about making money? Do you care about having having the popularity?
My camera, no.
Why not do it? You know? Oh, there goes your camera. Now you're out. You're just too much.
Now Badger is frozen.
Oh, anyways. No. Matt, turn your camera off and turn it back on.
You know?
Am I falling asleep on your end? I think everybody's just jacked up.
All right, turn your camera off and turn it back on. Steve, you're good for me. Okay. Matt, turn your camera off, turn it back on. Matt, can you hear me?
Hey, Badger, can you hear me? I think we lost him.
He got banned.
All that shit talking he was doing. Only I could be the devil's advocate on this.
Hold on, I'm texting him now.
No problem. But no, I mean, it's, you know, really good topic.
Okay, can you hear us, Matt?
Oh, now that just messed up the whole feed.
It'll go back once you turn his camera on. Everything will go back to the way it was.
Okay. Technical difficulties here.
It wouldn't be an internet show without it.
Technical difficulties.
But yeah, with this whole, he's back. The green cam. I guess I'm the Badger story now. It's funny.
You are. I always thought you looked like a badger, but
I've always thought myself as like a bear or some kind of weird ferret.
Oh.
Honestly, if I can get away with it, I would also be a raccoon. I don't know why. I've always been a fan of raccoons. They are like.
Did we have this conversation? No, we probably didn't have this conversation on a podcast. But the whole what kind of animal would you like to be?
It would either be a cat or a raccoon because they both have the same capability. I would say a raccoon because they both have the same capabilities, plus the disposable thumbs, and they're just so freaking sneaky. They're like thieves.
Wait, they're disposable thumbs. What do you mean by that? They can rip them off and then go back.
Yes,
they're like lizards. They can regrow their thumbs.
What did you do, man? Jeez.
I'm just gonna go into like the alley and just see nothing but raccoon thumbs all over the place.
It's that time of year again.
They're molting their thumbs. While we're waiting for you, we're talking about what animal we'd be, and I said I would like to be a raccoon for multiple different benefits, like climbing on things, using my disposable thumbs, and just looking like a bandit the whole time.
I have no choice. What I have to be.
Badger.
It's called TheBadgerStory for a reason.
According to Steve, I'm a badger. Maybe I'm like your long lost brother.
I get that all the time.
By the way,
since junior high school, my name has been Badger.
Mm.
Nobody's ever called me by my first name, even at work now.
Wow.
I have a 25, 26-year-old who calls me Badger.
If I really
Badger.
want to mess with you, I would call you Matthias.
Matthias?
Yeah.
That sounds better.
Then Matthew?
Here's another quick thing. So, I don't like to be called Matthew because it sounds like my mother's pissed off at me and like, I'm in trouble. So it's like, Matthew just sounds like, how can Matthew be sexy? Hey, Matthew, come here, you sexy thing. No, it doesn't work that way.
Depends on the girl saying it.
Yeah.
Matthew.
There's only one person in this whole entire world who can go as Matthew. It's Matthew McConaughey. Every woman loves Matthew McConaughey, and it's like his name is Matthew.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think the same way with my name, especially just with the N at the end, Steve N. Like it's like who says that? Like usually it's Steve or whatever.
Steven.
But there was a commercial that I think Nicki Minaj said it, and I was like, why did that sound so sexy coming from her?
Well, I mean, anything from Nicki Minaj is always sexy. I'm just gonna say
it's not Matthew Damon. It's Matt Damon. Okay, it's not. What's the other guy? What's his name? What's the other Matt?
I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch we can't.
Like the actor. I was thinking the actor. Matt LeBlanc. You knew that, the guy from Friends. Matthew Perry from Friends.
Matthew.
He did Matthew.
Yeah.
But he's not sexy. He can't get away with it.
I'm sure to some people he's very sexy.
I'm sure he is, but
in certain countries, demographic changes,
But
all right. But where did we leave off before got disconnected? I think we're wrapping up.
Yeah, we're wrapping this up. But before we move on, Matt, I need to ask you this question because I caught this earlier and I forgot about it. How old do you think Steve is?
First, I would say. He's been playing World of Warcraft. He's played World of Warcraft. He's probably close to my age then.
Okay, because the way you say, your age, I'm like, right. Steve is closer to you than he is to me.
Too, just like me. But is So I say that,
loosely,
nicely. But it's like when you say it, like he's been playing World of Warcraft for a long, long time, and it's like, okay, I mean that was stuff like even my age, like. My generation started World of Warcraft kind of like they were like the first ones to kind of this World of Warcraft's been going on for how long? How many? Like
almost 18 now? Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still my age too.
Yeah, right. That's as old as you, I think, almost. You know what I'm saying?
It's actually funny. I was leaving work today, and I not really talk to this guy, but seen him a lot, and we're kind of cool, whatever, and. He's like
tight like that.
How long? He's like, how long have you been working here? I was like, 16 years. And he's like, 6 years? I said, no, 16. He's like, what?
He's like, I thought you were 12.
No, well, not 12, but he's like, double that. He's like, I thought you were 24, 20. Like, no, but I get that a lot. Like, I was like, no.
It's that baby smooth face you got.
He's like,
I used to get carded for like for movies sometimes. Now I'm starting to get wrinkles though. Now I'm starting to get wrinkles, so now they're like, okay, he's old enough.
Listen, my grandma still gets carded.
We went to the casino in Kansas City, and they had to look at my ID to go in. I said, I'm 43 and stuff. But I still need to see your ID, and stuff. It's like, okay, thanks.
If my grandma still gets carded, anybody gets carded.
Who does?
Yeah.
My grandma.
Your grandma. So yeah, but it's still like we had. I forgot what it was like. He's like, oh, okay, you're good. Like, he ended up, like, knowing that I was, like, older. And, without even having... Oh, he asked me... all he had to do is look at my ID rather than swipe it and check the actual... See if it was actually a real ID.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he didn't even swipe it. He's like, okay, you're good. You're like, 43. You're good.
But you are correct. Steve is much closer to your age than he is to mine.
I would put you, like, around 37, 38.
37.
37, yeah.
Almost 38.
But if you would not have said anything about World of Warcraft, and then on top of that, Steven doesn't say anything about his job, I would probably put him around 25, 26. Just by looking at you. You know, you have that young face too.
He was like, I really thought you were 17.
But you also too. One thing that got me, and it was going in my head, is his room and how it's set up, and then how his posters and then the swords and stuff. That got me to thinking that he has actually. It's like, okay, it looks nice for a guy of my age. Okay, but kids don't worry about that kind of stuff and make it look good in the background and stuff, and have dogs walking in the in the background. You know, but it's like something like that. Like you can tell that he put thought into it.
He took the time and effort, and he wipes it down every single day, so there's no dust.
I thought you were gonna say it's like, well, I could tell he has.
Whatever you said, it's like you're getting censored by Discord itself.
Oh, am I? Oh well, I won't even repeat it then.
Oh.
Anyway, well, thank you for that assessment.
But I mean, you know, if you evaluate, but again, like if I just met him at a restaurant or something like that, it would be like totally like, yeah, you're. Look at his T-shirt too. I mean, look, he has to be like 20.
He dresses like a kid. No, I'm playing. But
I have a T-shirt that says Hakuna Matata on it. Okay, and I wear that all the time.
Oh, dude, I wear it. I'm wearing a freaking Bowser shirt right now.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
But moving on,
a Final Fantasy mashup T-shirt.
You gotta stand up for that one now. I gotta see it.
Come on.
Wait, hold on. Do you have pants on?
Of course not.
I do.
That's Final Fantasy?
Oh yes. No. That's not Final Fantasy. That's the same thing. Hakuna Matata. That's the Lion King.
That's not 13.
It's Lion King. It's Lion King, but it's also Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 7 from the 13 cat?
Yep. It's Red 13.
I think my dog needs to go outside.
Uh-oh.
You need to go do that real quick?
Evil eye. His good eye.
The one eye he can see out of.
Yeah, one eye. The blue one.
So, not yet. I guess moving on to the next thing is, Matt, by any chance, have you watched Game of Thrones at all?
Oh yeah, I've seen the Game of Thrones, and last night we watched the first episode of the
House of Dragons.
Yeah.
Yes, we can talk about this. I didn't know if you've seen this at all, but
I saw the first episode. I haven't seen the second one. We might watch it.
Well, second one isn't out yet.
Second one is a Sunday.
It is.
No, it come.
Last night I saw it.
I will look at my phone right now. It comes out Sunday.
It probably was a trailer, maybe.
Yeah, trailer.
Okay, but it said I thought it said episode 2 on it. I could be wrong.
Well, a trailer to episode 2.
You lied to me. I hurt you.
I mean, if it is out already, that is crazy. But I don't. It normally comes out on Sunday.
I was pissed off last night. We watched She-Hulk episode 2.
Oh, that was so...
Okay, the first episode is like 45 minutes long. The second one's 23 minutes long. What is going on with that picture?
I'm not a comic book guy, so
the reason Loki is the example where it's like all movies lengths, but I think it's because She-Hulk episode 1 is trying to get you into it. It's like basically 2 episodes mashed into one.
Good job. I enjoyed this season, the first episode. It was really good.
Maybe it's just me, but I thought she was annoying.
No. To me, it was like it brought back the feeling of the Avengers. Like it was nice to have Bruce in there as Hulk and stuff like that. It made it feel.
I agree. I liked her. I liked it because Bruce was in there, but I didn't like the way She-Hulk was portrayed. She's kind of annoying. Like the way she talks to Bruce, like, "Oh, I can control my anger better than you because I've been catcalled," you know. And
because I'm a man,
Mr. Tate.
No, but like Bruce is like the worst one to say that to because like Bruce was haunted by the military, especially he had a girlfriend. The girlfriend's dad was in the military. He's a general, and they haunted him nonstop to the point where he had to leave the U.S. and go to like basically isolation because he was just nonstop being hunted by the government. And then also, losing friends and afraid to lose control because he would kill somebody, and just a lot of restraint. And the fact that she said, "Oh, I know how to control myself," I'm like, you haven't been through Bruce's shoes. He's been through a lot compared to people, and I'm like, I just didn't like the disrespect that she showed towards him, especially especially his story being known to the whole world in the Marvel universe.
Second episode yet?
I have not, but I don't.
Okay, well, I don't want to say it sheds more light on it, but it definitely what you were talking about, how it's disrespectful, and it gets a little bit more disrespectful in this next episode. So you get to watch it.
Why would I want to watch that if it gets worse?
Now, you'll see. You'll see.
Like she almost like, I get it. There's differences, but she sounds almost kind of sounding in like a very annoying way. It's like she's talking down to Bruce like he's done nothing.
What I remember in the trailer, like she takes a guy home from the bar or something like that, and like throws him on the couch and like wants to have. It's like, what is going? What is this? My brother didn't even want to watch it because it's like, what is going on? And it's like,
yeah. So far, She-Hulk. I mean, I'll watch a couple episodes to give it its fair shot because before I can judge something, I have to give it its fair shake. But so far, it's turning out to be Miss Marvel all over again. I don't like it right now.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled with Miss Marvel. I did enjoy Miss Marvel though in kind of the Infinity Wars. Was it Infinity War?
Oh, you're thinking about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel is also annoying too. I don't like her, but Miss Marvel is the.
Miss Marvel, yeah, the
just make me think you don't like women.
No, that's not true because I love Wanda. Wanda is one of my favorite characters because she's a female character she doesn't have to say she's a woman to be strong. She doesn't have to like put down other people because she's a woman. She just does her thing. She just is what she is, and she's.
What are you talking about here?
Wanda.
Oh, Wanda.
Like her show is fantastic to me, and that's a female-led show. But they do it right where they don't have to say she's a woman. She doesn't have to say she's oppressed. She just goes through natural trials that everyone goes through, and that's what makes her enjoyable. Black Widow I liked up until her single movie, and that's only because the story was boring and Taskmaster was done horribly. But it wasn't because of I'm woman, hear me roar, because that's not how Black Widow was. It's just a really badly told story.
Another question is, did you watch all the episodes of Miss Marvel, or did you only watch 2 and just?
I watched 4. I really tried. Like I watched 4 and I struggled through those 4 episodes. I'm like, this is so freaking boring to me.
I thought around like the 3 or 4 one is when it started getting good, and then like the last 2 episodes made it like okay. I mean, she's a young girl, and you have to understand like this is like.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. To give it its fair, its shot is that it's not marketed towards me. It's marketed more to teenage girls, and to its point, like there's certain Disney movies that I've watched that I don't like, but it talks on issues that make sense for its audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if it's going for its audience, it's probably well received, but for me, it's not because I can't relate to it.
Last quiz: Wonder Woman.
I love her.
Which one?
Okay.
Wonder Woman 1 I liked. 84. The story wasn't done well. I felt like they just kind of like crammed too many things together and didn't really flesh it out. But going back to House of Dragons.
House of Dargons. House of the Dargons.
Did I spell it wrong?
No, I say it wrong. Purposely, all the time.
But what did you think about episode 1?
Me or Steve?
Both of you.
I'll say it. Let me flip this ever so slightly. How about we say what we didn't like?
Nothing.
Is that a shorter list?
Huh?
Is that a shorter list?
Well, for me it is. I would think it might be for you guys. I don't know. No, go ad nauseum on what I did like.
Did you catch any of that? I heard.
Oh my god! Why does it keep doing that? I don't have any issues with it any other time. Anyway,
it's my fault. I
don't know. I think it's Discord's fault. But no, I was saying that I could talk ad nauseum at what I did like, which I probably will do anyway. But the only thing I could say I didn't like, and this is going to sound stupid and petty, and it's really just a stretch statement, was just the graphics of the fire from when they did the cremation. The episode was fucking fantastic. From
By
the
way, too, this is a what do you call it?
Oh, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert! Yes, thank you.
10-second spoiler alert.
You need to say that before you actually start talking about it.
It's a little too late, but good point. I think time expired. If anybody is on any stream, we are about to talk about House of Dragons episode 1. You are warned. Goodbye. Anyway, so at the very beginning with the prologue, it just immediately got you to the point where you understand where they're at. Loved it. I don't know, Josh, did you stay around and watch the inside the episode part right afterwards?
I didn't. I should, okay. But I felt like I understood what they were showing because I haven't read Fire and Blood. I did read A Song of Ice and Fire, and I did see a lot of the introductions to Fire and Blood through the animations and all that stuff. So I kind of get a good gist of it.
So it had nothing to do with that.
Oh.
More or less, the after the episode, them kind of reanalyzing certain scenes of the first episode and what they were trying to convey. And one of the pivotal scenes that they were discussing was the battle part with the jousting, and how they did the fighting sequence along with the birth sequence, and tried to convey how women have their battle with giving birth versus men having battle like in a physicality way, which I thought was very interesting because that's not how I took the scene.
Oh, it's funny that you said that because I took it that way.
No, and that's fine. That's a correct, like the way they did that was fantastic, and but that wasn't what was going through my head when I was, and I guess you didn't catch this because the way I was working it, and I never read the books, so I don't really know what's going on, and I'm glad that way because this made that scene that much more powerful. I think for me, if I knew the outcome, they kept going back and forth, right? So they were showing, was it Daemon?
Daemon Targaryen? Yeah.
Like they were showing him like winning and then like losing.
And then cut it out.
And then cutting out.
Yeah. Like, well, the thing is, like, is it going to be a boy or is it going to be a girl, right? Because like they were showing him winning, then it's like, oh shit, it's probably going to be a girl. Then they showed
my
losing.
even though the baby died.
Well, that part too. Like I was going to that point too.
It's funny that you read into this because the only reason why I never thought about that is because they said it was going to be a boy. Like the Maesters already knew it was going to be a boy.
Okay, but I still didn't, is what I'm saying, right? No,
that's the thing. I can see your point. It does make sense because that is a very good representation of, 50-50, like a coin flip.
Yeah, and the fact, like, he eventually lost, and I was like, it was like, anyways, that's how I thought how well that scene was because it went back and forth, and that was the way kind of interpreting it, not really the whole, the women's battle is giving birth, which also made sense when they shared that. I was like, oh, that's the other part. Okay, that was fucking cool. I thought that scene was probably the best for me, but like like I said, I could talk ad nauseum about the rest of the episode, but the gore and graphics already that they've done, like with the city, when they went in chopping off balls and shit. Like,
that was insane.
Oh my god. And even the C-section part, like I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they're gonna, like, I actually cringed watching it. Like I was like, oh my god, how far are they going to go?
Now I'm gonna sound like an opposite of Andrew Tate here because I've women in my family that's had complications with childbirth, and even some that have gotten really close to dying because loss of blood pressure dropping, iron deficiency, and all that stuff. So when I seen that, I got emotional a little bit because like this is, even in modern day medicine, birth is still a very difficult thing to do, and I couldn't imagine back then without any kind of like numbing or like training or sanitation. Like the risk of death was much higher than it is now, and I feel bad that there's people that had to make these. Like obviously the guy made the decision, but like realistically, like some of these decisions had to be made. Like most likely the mother was gonna die because all the blood loss and all everything. It's like she's gonna die regardless. So do you want to still save the baby? But we're gonna have to unfortunately cause her a lot of pain to cut her open.
Yeah, no, and I concur. Like I didn't say I didn't get a little at the very. Then it kind of mainly to like I said, like cringe because like I was like, oh my god, what were they going to show? Like, am I ready to see this? Right? Because like I don't mean to fall off the rails here, but like I still eventually want to have kids of my own, and if I get that opportunity, like I want to be in the room to witness all that, right? And I feel like I could, my stomach could handle it also. But that scene itself, like that was strong, man. That was really strong.
And then also seeing the king's face of despair when he had to watch his wife die, and obviously he was still going through the emotion of happy that his son was born, and then obviously dealing with the sadness of his wife passing away, and then seeing the more despair come across his face when he found out his son has also passed away too. It's like Even though that, the mom dealt with a lot giving birth and, her unfortunate passing, the dad himself dealt with a huge grief that's unimaginable to most people.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we continue on, I just want to say I love watching you talk. It's like hearing you start chapter 1 and then immediately when you cut back in, it's like chapter 17. It's like you're talking like, and then you're like, oh yeah, I love it when the dragon comes into play. It's like, where the hell did we get to this chapter?
Well, I guess I'll refer.
It just did it again. But before I say my part, Matt, do you have any things that you disliked?
The only thing I don't say I disliked it was just coincidence. Like we have a TV in our bedroom. We watched it in our bedroom. So wife and I are cuddling on the bed and watching it and stuff.
Cuddling.
Yeah, cuddling. We were cuddling. No, yeah, come on now.
You're making Targaryen babies out there.
I'm sorry, did my mic cut off? Sorry. So
hey, that's a low blow, man.
Yeah. So like I'm watching the show. I'm like, you know what? They don't have like any like sex scenes or nudity in this one.
And then there's a whole brothel.
Yeah. Then like all of a sudden he's in a strip club, back in whatever, a whorehouse or whatever, and well, I spoke too soon, Oh no, I was like, they didn't show they weren't showing anything. Like they had the sex scene sort of with the brother, and then like his wife or something. And then it's like they didn't really show anything, and then all of a sudden, like right when I said that, he's
banging.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like they don't show like any private parts. I'm like, oh, maybe they
can't
this time.
No,
yeah, and then all of a sudden, like he goes to the window, and then here comes his wife,
ass.
Ass showing and everything. You kind of see the curvature of her breast, and then it's like, okay, and then it's like shortly after they do the whorehouse, where it's like, okay, well, come on, like
It's funny that you say it because when I seen that girl, the one with Daemon Targaryen, I thought that was Olivia Munn for a second. I don't know why. Or, like from the angle, it looked like her, but then when they showed her full face, it wasn't her. But I'm like, is that Olivia Munn on this? Like, it's an extra cheat. But no, it wasn't. So I was a little. That'd be my one negative is that it wasn't Olivia Munn. I got baited.
To me, though, it's like I still don't understand. I know sex sells. But I still don't understand why they have to put it in there.
Like, I agree. I don't like it because you can't watch it with your family if they have that in there.
Well, but it's like Game of Thrones was awesome. It would have been great without it. Okay, it would still been like this is a great show. They didn't need it.
I agree. They didn't need it.
I know it's like back in the
medieval times,
1300s, medieval times or whatever. Yeah, okay, this happened. But it's like, do we really need to see it all? Do we really need to have like it? It's like the brother in episode 1. Okay, he went to the whorehouse after his the king's wife died and the son, and it's like, do you actually have to show that it's actually a whorehouse? Why couldn't you be something else? Or
the whorehouse is the only exception to it because it actually added to the narrative with the guys going through their celebration and then eventually Daemon making a speech, causing the conflict later with his brother. That's the only exception that scene actually tied into the story. But most sex scenes really don't tie into the story or add to the story. So for the majority part, I will agree that it's not needed. It really isn't. But like you said, it sells, and people like that stuff.
Outside the selling point, because that's obviously true, I think for his character, and then going back to Game of type of characters that went through that same type of thing, like Tyrion. Am I cutting off again?
Yeah.
I think it does and build a lot of, as crazy as it sounds,
characteristics.
Characteristics. No, character. Yeah, for his character, because if he didn't have it, and I think it does play a huge part in his character, that like it's then just considered gray area, and it's like, oh, is he really fucking any chick that he wants,
or is it just
do we really
one?
know? Yeah. So I mean, it doesn't need to be, but I think it really does help. And we'll see when the show keeps going as to what kind of character he is. But I think that's why need is a strong word, but like that's why I think it exists.
So going into my negative was the reviews on it. It got review bombed pretty hard.
Really?
And the reviews, to me, is quick response and emotion reviews, where it's like, you know, they're doing a lot of comparisons to like Game of Thrones and season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like, oh, you know, what's her name? Rhaenys? I have something with an R. Targaryen, the girl, the little girl, the king's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Viserys, right? I don't know how you say her name.
I don't have him committed to memory yet.
The only one I remember is Damon, but they're like, you know, she's just another Emily Clark, you know, she's another Dany, whatever. Daenerys. But they don't realize that the first 3 episodes are setting things up, you know, just character-wise, and we're, you know, you're going to think one thing versus another, but then there's going to be, after episode 3, there's going to be almost a 20 to 40 year time skip.
So I know you mentioned that before. Is that 100% factual?
That's factual, because the story takes place further into the future. They're just think of this as like a prologue to the actual story.
Okay, because also today they announced already, which is no surprise,
season 2.
Yeah, green light for season 2, and who knows? I already thought that was going to happen, because I thought we talked.
Yeah, they're having 5 to 6 seasons. That's what they've already talked about and what's confirmed, but for some reason they gotta do for publicity, whatever. Gotcha.
So with that said, let's anticipate 5 or 6 seasons. Why then would they do a time skip when 40 years could easily be 2 seasons worth of content?
Like I can't speak for the books, but from what I've known and the narration from the other stuff, you know, the animate those little animated shorts, is that they're basically talking about one with the king and the birth and the, you know, the son happening, and how it creates a rift between the daughter and the brother, or the king's brother and the king's daughter.
Well, there's that. Okay, well, like, you probably know more than I, but like, I thought the rift more is going to be the daughter versus his sister, because his sister got snuffed when their father named the son the king and not her. So now all of a sudden there's a girl on the throne. Now she's going to be very vitriol again.
See, I don't know if I want to talk about this, because I'll spoil the whole thing. But but they're basically trying to give you an idea of a rift.
Yeah.
But really, there's another rift coming apart.
Okay.
Like that. So that's why if you look at, I'm not going to go too far into the future.
Yeah.
But that's why in episode 1, when you see the king's hand, the High Towers sends the daughter to the king's chamber purposely to seduce him.
Of course, yeah.
I don't think it was seduced.
Well, I know what's going to happen, and I want, like I said, the first 3 episodes are setting up the conflict to come. But there's going to be rifts. There's going to be people that you think are enemies that actually turn out to be really close, and people that you think are close are going to be like the worst of enemies. Like, there's a character right now in the show that, you know, you'll see here. I'm not sure if you guys want me to say her name, but she's going to make Cersei look like an angel.
Like, one thing that, like, to your point, right? Like, they're setting the table up a certain way, and then everything, or maybe not everything, is where, and that's exactly how I felt. Like every meeting that they've had, like the King's Chamber meetings and stuff, where they put the little ball in the little thing, and like, let's start having a meeting. I swear, it feels like everybody in that room, with the exception of the king, is just straight up shifty-eyed as fuck. And I don't know if that's because I'm so conditioned of Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? But like, every time that those scenes were going, I'm like, this motherfucker on something, this motherfucker on something. That one's definitely. So it's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for the whole thing to be shot.
I looked at these guys, I'm like, how did these guys become actors? Because they're all ugly. No offense. Even, you know, it was just, in my opinion,
we all have a chance.
Yeah. But then it's like, my wife's like, we're watching, and the young daughter is like, she's my wife goes, like, she's ugly. But I was thinking, like, this girl actually is like really good. I actually kind of liked the way her personality was, and I actually enjoyed it. I actually thought she did a good job.
You're talking about the one that's going to be queen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I want you to see the time jump, because her characteristics now changed drastically.
Well, To me, I just enjoyed it. I don't know. I'm still like I didn't read. So this is something that's cool that we can maybe talk about later on. But I never knew I don't know anything about the story. Like I don't know how me and my wife were talking. Like how prequel is this? Like how far in the past?
This is 200. This is about 172 years.
172. I was gonna say 162. They say it right in the beginning. This is we'll say 172 years before Daenerys Targaryen is born.
Oh wow!
So that'd be 200 years before the end of season 8.
Which actually, to me, is also surprising because when they first announced this prequel, I thought it was going to be like thousands of years.
Oh, you're probably thinking about Aegon's conquest, though.
To the downfall of
Valyria.
Whatever. Yeah.
But that's Aegon's conquest, which I love that they said in episode 1 of House of Dragons is Aegon's dream. Like they were talking about the Targaryens having their prophecies, how one saw the fall of Valyria, and then Aegon's conquest going to Westfall or Westeros. Westeros. I'm thinking World of Warcraft. Yeah, I'm sorry, Westeros. And then
he did that before too.
And then he sees the coming apocalypse with, the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. No, I loved all those. I don't know if this was another one you caught, or at least I felt like I caught, when everybody was pledging their allegiance to the Queen. When they got to House Baratheon and House Stark, they also too looked very shifty-eyed, like, God, like, we got to do this shit, because they're the ones that start the Mad King War, right? If memory serves me correct.
No, their grandsons do. Rickon.
Well, I'm sorry, not the ones in the show, but the families.
Oh yeah. Robert's Rebellion, which is the Baratheon Rebellion.
Exactly, yeah. But even though they started the rebellion, still they still probably hate each other even now. The families.
Yeah. Oh, there's definitely like the show. Like I said, this show focused more on political agendas because there's relationships, what they can get, and all this stuff. Like for example, the King's Hand. Without spoiling too much, I love how this guy's portrayed as the friend, but he's been secretly sabotaging him the whole entire time. Like, even in episode 1, you can see where the sabotaging happens.
Yeah, I mean, the dots aren't connected, but I'll dot with no line, So, yeah, like, we'll wait and see. It's fun to talk about. I know you know more. Too much, but yeah, there's the other thing I was thinking about too is talking about the daughter and Daemon was, and you probably already know this, but I was thinking like, oh, are we already gonna get in episode 1? Like, what the fuck?
I'm sorry, can you say that? Can you say that one part again, because it cut out?
What? Oh, so they had that scene with the princess and Daemon, and I was like, oh my god, are we gonna get
the incest thing?
Because the Targaryens are known to be.
I can't talk about it.
So that's what I'm saying. We could talk a lot about this, but I know and that's why it's we can't talk about it.
It's I'm biting my tongue here because it's things you can already like you said, it's a well-known fact.
It's inevitable, yeah. Well,
it happens.
Yeah, I know. Shut up.
But yeah, that was my one negative about
House of Dragon. I'm loving Badger's face right now. He's just
I'm confused as hell right now. I don't even know what. I mean, I kind of know what I remember from Game of Thrones, and even Game of Thrones, that confused me a little bit. But it's still you guys got me what's gonna happen next?
Oh, we're super nerds on here.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, I'm still on the same wavelength. I don't know. Josh does know more. Obviously, you could do a quick Google search and you can learn stuff pretty quickly. I'm staying away from it. I like it better when I don't know. So
even though I do know, I'm looking forward to what I already know. That's cool. That's good. The way the story is set up, I'm like, oh, dude, when this happens, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I saw the trailer maybe once, and that's it. Before this, I knew they were gonna make the prequel, and I saw the trailer once. I was excited that they're gonna make it. But I don't know the storyline, the plots, what's happened. I didn't know. Again, I didn't know how, in the past it was until you just told me. We actually thought that it was Stark's mother who's going to make a bastard son and whatever. Like, we thought it was like that kind of like.
Oh no.
Before. Not generations before.
If you go back and watch it, it's really like not even 5 minutes. Right after the introduction scene with the prologue, that's when they show the little wording, like almost like Star Wars-ish, like and then it says like this takes place. Like there's no gray area. They're like, this is exactly when it takes place, and I like that. I like that a lot.
It basically catches you up, so you don't have to watch Game of Thrones. Like it gives you like a good fill-in.
Yeah.
The one thing I am looking forward to that is, I'm not even sure if it's in the story of Fire and Blood, but Melisandre, or I think I'm saying her name right, from Game of Thrones, the Red Priest that brought Jon Snow back. She's 200 years old in Game of Thrones. So during House of Dragons, she might be 20 or 40 years old, depending on whenever they show her. I'm hoping that she makes an appearance in the show.
That'd be cool.
Like, you kind of see like her start into like, oh god, what was her god's name? I'm gonna call it the Fire God.
Yeah, I think it was like the Fire God or whatever.
But
something like that.
But I'm really looking forward to seeing like more of the magic part, because there is a lot of like, from Aegon's conquest to this part, there is a lot of magic, because the children of the forest aren't all wiped out yet.
Okay, that's good.
So, for example, like, when you see in King's Landing, you see the face tree there.
Yes.
And
I thought that was more of a homage to, the regular show, just to give you a sense of environment.
Well,
I didn't read into it as the children are still out there and alive. I just read it as, I know exactly where they are in relation to Game of Thrones.
Well, it is for the environment, but it's also for the story, because magic hasn't been fully depleted yet.
I think it didn't have the sad face neither, now that right?
Yeah, and also, when they went over King's Landing, I love how they showed a still being established town. Like, obviously, when we see Game of Thrones, it's fully fleshed out, walls everywhere, there's a harbor. In House of Dragons, it's still being built and expanded upon, and I loved how they showed the difference. And then even with the chairs, with the multiple swords everywhere, and how the swords are so sharp where the king even cuts himself when he sits down. Like, I love seeing that. And then obviously after Robert's Rebellion, they changed everything, because he didn't like the way certain things were, so he filed things down. He got rid of the dragon skulls and everything. So it's like, it's cool seeing like the set changes and how things are being built upon and how they change in the future. I think that's amazing. I think they did a fantastic visually on creating the show so far.
Oh yeah, I concur 100% with that. I mean, it's just, it adds on to how, in my opinion, how amazing the episode was. Like, from beginning to end. Like, it was a complete, like, it was only an hour runtime, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah, it was only an hour.
A little bit over.
I don't know if it went over, but it was about an hour, I will say.
Like, am I wrong? Did I feel like it lasted like 90 minutes or long?
It felt like it was a very long episode, but it wasn't that long.
It was a very long episode. But it wasn't. That's why it was so amazing.
I'm gonna have to get out of here soon, guys.
Okay. Well, we only have one more. We only have one more topic left, so we could probably wrap this up very soon if you want.
Yeah, we can make it brief.
Okay. Yeah. It's I haven't had dinner yet, and it's 8 o'clock over here. I know it's 10 o'clock. Yeah, but I had dinner at like 6:30.
I know. I'm messing with you.
I definitely can make my 2 cents on this topic very quick. So.
Well, this one I'm actually interested in. So, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, has been officially announced that it was a $1 billion project. And $1 billion for a TV show is very expensive. Like, Game of Thrones, for seasons, only average like $100-something million. This is a $1 billion show production. And Amazon has stated that depending on how the show does, will either shape the streaming service going forward, or they might have to relook a bunch of things. And I'm curious, and I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, so I want this to succeed. But for $1 billion, if this is a flop, I don't know how they would make any more Lord of the Rings films after that.
To me, it's. I want to watch it, and I'm going to watch it. But like in my gut, I'm not going to like it. That's how I feel in my gut. Like, I enjoyed The Hobbit. I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings, the original. Those were great to me. This now is kind of like, it felt like more like Amazon is trying to continue that road, and it's like I don't see it happening. Like I just see it like it's already finished. Like why are you trying to attempt and spend that kind of money on trying to attempt?
It's funny that you say this because I'm actually going to disagree with you. Only because Tolkien's universe for the whole Lord of the Rings things expands much, much further. And, like, we still haven't touched on Sauron's rise to power. Like, we obviously see bits and pieces in Lord of the Rings, with the little flashbacks. But there's still much more that wasn't touched, like, was shown. And with these Rings of Power, they're going to go into that story. And, there's been games like Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War that goes deep into that. And, I've seen other Amazon shows. They aren't willing. They're not willing to shy away from dark and gory stories, which I think that Lord of the Rings is going to go to. It's going to be very dark with Sauron. They're going to focus on him, and they're going to focus on the elves and the hobbits and the humans coming together, and then obviously the humans eventually causing their colliding, with their race. Who are you waving at?
Nobody.
Me.
Yeah, I'm waving at Badger.
But
high five, right?
Wait, how do we do this?
Right here, this way.
This way.
There you go. No, you're right.
We'll just do both ways.
Josh.
I have to go up because you guys are above me.
No, you're only supposed to go one way. He's only supposed to go one way. I have to do both ways.
For me, you guys are both above me, so I got to go.
That didn't look right, Steve. That looks like, do you have a woman underneath there or something?
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the show because so far Amazon hasn't disappointed me yet. And plus, I'm a fan of Lord of the Rings. I'd love to see, more movie spin-offs and potential stuff in the past. So I'm hoping.
I hope it blows my mind. I really do. I really hope it blows my mind. To me, it's like I love the characters, but the people who played the characters.
But the one thing that just makes me like $1 billion. It has to be some kind of phenomenal like
I think
set
it's just
pieces.
graphic. I think it's just CGI. A lot of it is going to be because think about it. Even with the previous Lord of the Rings, they had to spend that kind of money. And
They
not $1 billion.
I think the most was like 200 million. Maybe
even that sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah, like this is a very big budget for anything, even movies. Like Disney doesn't even spend that much money on their stuff. Like the highest one was Avengers Endgame, and that was 200 million.
I haven't seen the second trailer yet, but the first trailer, me and my friend Rev were talking about it. Investment. That trailer did not look like they spent $1 billion.
I've seen the trailers too, and it doesn't look like it either. That's the weird part.
It doesn't. See, yeah. So to mirror Badger's assessment, me too. I don't have a subscription, but I would want to watch it. Hey, it might actually make me buy one just to watch it. I'm not the Lord of the Rings super fan, so if it sucks because of certain things, that's probably not going to break my heart. I'm just looking and going to grade it on what it is, and that's that. To your point, Josh, I know they want to expand that universe, kind of similar to how the Marvel DC is doing it. And I know, if I may segue even back a little bit to Game of Thrones, I know Game of Thrones wants to do that. They want to turn it into this massive universe and capitalize on that IP. And I'm ready to eat it all up. That's all I'm saying. So
it says here the Lord of the Rings. Well, it said the Fellowship of the Rings cost 93 million.
See, that's
a tenth, not even a tenth of this budget.
Yeah, but that was the first one.
But look how awesome that one looked for its time.
It still looks awesome to this day.
It still looks awesome. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it needed as much CGI as the other two.
I think the Two Towers was the most CGI with the the whole battle scene, that tower and the ghosts and all that stuff.
But I think a lot of that CGI was, and I'm no guru on this, but a lot of that was just copying and pasting people on the battlefield.
Well, it was a mixture of three things: copying, pasting, CG artwork for the visuals, and then also practical effects. Like they built a lot of set pieces to
some people like that kind of content.
Nope. torrent on the stream? Come on now.
How dare you? But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I have hope for Amazon because I've watched a lot of their shows, and like I said, there's only been maybe 2 or 3 shows out of their big catalog that they have that's only disappointed me.
I think one of them was the Red Notice was one of the ones I liked the most, right? They did that one?
What is it?
Red Notice? The one with The Rock?
No, that's Netflix.
That was Netflix?
Yeah.
Who did the, it was the Tomorrow's War, right?
That was Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, that one, I like that one. That was really good.
Yeah.
Chris
I have high hopes from, obviously, if it flops, that would be a horrible mistake, and also one that'll go down in cinematic history as the biggest flops of all time.
No, they're making this into seasons, not movies, right?
No, I think it's just one season.
So far, it's $1 billion season.
Yeah, and is it only 8 episodes or 10?
I know the season's fairly short, but I don't know how many episodes. Let's just say 8 to be on the safe side, but I know it comes out September 7th, I believe.
Oh,
so it comes out very soon, and I hope this blows my mind because, it's like to your point, the trailers don't show $1 billion production. But maybe they're doing that way on purpose, and maybe they're lowering your expectations, and when you watch the show, you're like, what the? This is insane.
So how does this get released? Is it like Game of Thrones?
I don't know what you just said, but I'm assuming it's going to be a weekly basis. Most people don't do like Netflix where it's just all in one go. I think they're going to do it weekly.
That was my question.
It's going to be another Game of Thrones thing.
That's why I assumed. I heard the first part and I just kind of filled the rest in.
I'm sure that's the reason why probably Amazon says that this will, show what's going to happen to Amazon or not.
Well, I think the reason why they say this might shape their future is because they have a lot of projects that they want to work on, especially movie franchise-wise. And I think they're seeing if this pans out, if they're willing to sink even more money into future projects that could pay off like this. Because there's a movie series
or season 2
that's trying to rival Harry Potter. It's another fantasy genre. They want to make 3 movies, and the rumors I heard, I don't know if they're true. These are just rumors, and because there's no production yet. But they want to spend at least $5 billion on this 3-movie trilogy.
What is wrong with people these days?
Well, Amazon has a lot of money.
I'm in the wrong business.
Amazon has a lot of money, so they're capable of making these moves.
Well, yes, but come on, let's be serious now. They don't have these A-class actors and actresses.
You don't need A-class actors.
Look at House of Dragons. It's Game of Thrones.
Are they really spending that much money on CGI and location?
And permits and all this, and the camera.
You actually live there one day?
Well, see, this is what has me
building sets.
This is what is confusing to me is that Amazon, most of the shows aren't CG based. A lot of them are practical effects based. They build their sets, they build their characters with Look
at Lord of the Rings. A lot of those sets still exist to this day, and you could go.
They go on scene and shoot. Yeah.
What do you call it? Wherever.
They go to Iceland or Greenland or whatever.
I think or New Zealand.
New Zealand, yep.
New Zealand, I think is the one.
The Shire.
Yep.
And stuff. Yeah. I'm sure.
So that's where a lot of the money goes. Yeah.
That make it into a music park or something like that. You know?
I thought you said they're gonna turn it into a musical. I'm like, no, don't ever make it a musical.
It's the next version of Universal Studios, just bigger.
But
do you guys have anything else to add to this?
No, I agree. I would like to see it successful. Even if it tanks, it's not the downfall of Amazon. To your point, Amazon stupid rich, but will it hurt? I guess their future of shows and movies. I guess that's their.
I think it'll change their approach.
Gamble, but I think it'll be successful.
And then,
what may make it not successful are the reviews. But I think they will get the eyes on it that they need. It's really up to the views if they're gonna just bash the shit out of it.
Mm.
So we'll see.
And then real quick, tonight, new movie with Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg. I think it's on Amazon Prime. I don't know what it's called.
I guess it's very fitting to what we were just talking about. What's it called? I guess I could just type in Kevin Hart and it should pop up, right?
Yeah. I saw it on Facebook real quick, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe that's something I'm watching. I like Mark Wahlberg. I love Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
He's I think he's probably one of the best comedians I've ever seen in movies. Like seriously, I love watching him. Other than Robin Williams, I think he's probably the best.
Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian for comedy wise, but Kevin Hart and obviously Robin Williams, Jack Black are good on-screen comedians with how they perform.
Like, Kevin Hart has done a million movies. It seems like he's just going and going and going. Like he has a lot of successful movies.
It's because he's friends with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That it's hilarious watching those things on YouTube and stuff. Them going at it, making each other laugh. It's just like it's hilarious. Yeah. TikTok.
All right, Josh, what you got?
I was trying to look for the movie, but I'll look it up on my own time. But
hurry up and do it. Just give me 1 second.
No, you gotta go eat, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm not anyways.
You can hear your stomach on the microphone.
Hey, I gotta let the dog out.
No, that's my stomach. I'm sorry. That's my stomach grumbling. Let's see. Mark
Kevin Hart's new movie. It is called Me Time.
Me Time. All right. I'll put that on my watch list along with One Up.
And it's on Netflix. I'm sorry. Wait.
Why are you giving me false hopes, man? You're like, oh, it's Amazon.
I know. I thought it was Amazon. It is it says Netflix.
I'll look it up. But that is it for episode 5 of the Out of Mana podcast. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys follow, subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on social media to keep up with future updates. Thank you, Matt. Well, I guess TheBadgerStory for coming on and being here with us today. It was a pleasure to have you. We will be. I'm not even gonna look at the date because I'm gonna have to look at a calendar. But the next episode should be Friday, usual time. If not, like I said, follow us on social media. It'll be kept updated. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.